Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dialogue Tree. I am your host, Sacrabalic, your envoy of hope, and this is the 9th episode of Dialogue Tree and the first one in 2025. I have never missed an episode, not one episode. It has always been on schedule. No glasses, Sac jump scare. Oh, hold on. These aren't. I do, by the way, I don't know if I've ever said this. I have prescription glasses. These are not them. These are blue light glasses. I actually wear the blue light glasses a lot less now that I have found out the information that blue light glasses don't actually protect your eyes from screen damage because that got disproven. So I actually care about wearing them a lot less than I used to. Anyway, Maid, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing? How's everyone doing? Yeah, this is the 9th one. We've been doing this for 2 years at this point, and I've never missed an episode. It is always the first Sunday of every second month on an odd month. So I think it would be. You're playing Metal Gear Solid 3. Nice. Excellent game. One of my favorites. I do like the first one better, but I think I only like the first one better for, like, nostalgia reasons. Like, I think, arguably, the third game is a better game. I know you mentioned in Discord you're not feeling it as much, but I do think the third one is probably better overall. It's just, like, something about the first one just hits for me, you know? But anyway, yeah, we're here in Dialogue Tree. You might have wondered where I've been all week when I said, okay, now we really need to stream Kingdom Hearts. And the answer is, I had something I had to do even more important than Kingdom Hearts, based on scheduling, because I had to beat a video game by tonight in order for it to appear on this podcast, in order for it to appear on the award show next Sunday, and now I need to beat Kingdom Hearts by next Sunday. So, and for the record, I beat that game that we will talk about literally as the next topic. I beat it today. is how close I cut it. So yeah, I've tried to get that game down as quick as fucking possible. I've just done it, and now we are going to gun it actually in over the next week. We have to get through Kingdom Hearts by next Sunday in order for it to appear on the second annual Dialogue Tree Awards. Which is next Sunday. So get that shit together, get that in a box, clear your calendars. We're getting fucking wasted. Having a fun time. Don't know, 2 just really clicked with you. 1 is probably my favorite, though. I would say 2 is the least stupid. Because the Metal Gear games are basically Kojima going on a bunch of dumb rants, and 2 is the one that's, like, the most relevant and prophetic, retrospectively. Like, 2 ages really well. Probably better than any of the others. The survival mechanics annoy me in a similar way RPG stats in San Andreas annoy me, but like San Andreas I can ignore. See, I always really like survival mechanics in games. In fact, the reason I loved Minecraft so much initially is because it was basically a survival game. It was kind of like a game I always wanted, because what I always wanted when I was a kid was I wanted a game where you just they drop you into a jungle and it's like, okay, survive now. Do that. And Metal Gear Solid 3 is not that, really, but it's kind of like that. And so I always appreciated those elements, because that just sort of appeals to me. Now there's actually a bunch of games like that. So, eating pretty good now. But, anyway, yeah. But yeah, so I had to get the game done by today, and I did. So, my goal for next week is we've got to get Kingdom Hearts done. We have to finish Kingdom Hearts 3, or it's not going to be able to appear on the award ceremony. I'm going to announce the award categories once I get the palettes created for them, and I don't have those yet. I haven't had the time to go through the game list for the award ceremony. The Patriots is like a genuinely creepy conspiracy theory. Too bad that all fucked up because they're just the chuckle fuck operators from 3. The Patriots in Metal Gear Solid 2 are not the operators from 3. They are the AIs constructed. They are constructed AIs that Zero created, and so that's why they're like glitching out at the end, is because they're killing JD. I think I forget which one dies in 3, but yeah, the when your like codec is fucking dying in 2, it's because you're killing one of the Patriots. You know, that's the thing with the conspiracy. It's only fun when you don't know. Yeah, I mean, I mean that's kind of like what Deus Ex does. I think it would have been unsatisfying to not know in 3, like in Metal Gear Solid, because it has such a clear narrative all the way through. You don't think Kojima fucking had that planned? I do think Kojima had that planned. Specifically because the speech you get from the AI Rose and the AI Colonel Campbell specifically talks about AI manipulating information on a global scale and how humans cannot be trusted, and so the AI have to take over. So I don't necessarily know if Zero was planned, but honestly, I would not be surprised. Especially because they happen to use for the Patriots the same acronyms as the names of the operators in the third game, that I would assume that when he created Metal Gear Solid 1, he didn't have the Patriot shit planned. But I would say that he had at least a vague idea of where it was going from 2 onward. And I would say by the end of 3, he knew exactly what he was doing. He wanted 2 to be the last game. I mean, that is totally possible, but I think he definitely left a route for it. I think that snaps together too cleanly for him not to have had a plan. On a counterpoint, where I would say Kojima had no fucking clue what he was doing, was when you get into V, because there's no fucking... He had no idea what he was doing. He so clearly did not want to make V. That game is just fucking blithering fucking nonsense. But anyway, yes, so next week, as many streams as required to finish Kingdom Hearts. Get ready for that. Kingdom Hearts needs to go down next week. All right, this time, let's talk... It's Dialogue Tree. We've got the Oucha Hall. Maybe it's because I like fucking mind-bendy shit with open endings like End of Eva and Surreal Experiments Lane, so maybe that's why I have no problem ignoring 4. I fucking hate 4. I didn't like 4 the first, 3 times I played it. 4's actually grown on me over time. I think it has some interesting ideas. The thing that sucks about 4 is the length of the cutscenes, the way the cutscenes are portrayed. Like, the direction on the cutscenes is a bit fucking wonky for 4. And I would also say that another issue with 4 is there's just not enough gameplay. Like, 4 is a 25-hour game with 4 hours of gameplay. You don't like Rising either. I also don't like Rising. I'll agree with you on that. I think Rising is a vastly overrated game. I think the sword mechanics in it are cool, but I hate most of Rising, to be honest. I think Rising ruins Raiden's character arc from 2 and 4. I think it absolutely shits the bed with what it does with Raiden. Because now he's just like, oh, now Jack is back. And it's like, well, that feels fucking reductive. Like, it like resets the series. It's kind of like a terrible... Rising sucks, is the thing. I don't like Rising. But it has so many memes in it, is the thing. Danganronpa is just Metal Gear, but shitty. I don't know if I'd agree with that. I guess I can kind of see what you're getting at. Anyway, yes, Dialogue Tree, Oucha Hall. This right here is a Midori Sour. It's theoretically less accurate of a Midori Sour, but more well put together. So here we've got 1 3/4 shot of lemon juice, 1 3/4 shot of lime juice. We're rocking 3 shots of Midori, 3 shots of vanilla vodka because I'm trying to get through that bottle, and 3 shots of just fucking water. You're not supposed to put water in cocktails. You're supposed to use seltzer because it's fancier, but I don't like seltzer, so I used fucking water. Also, I remembered to put in the ice first this time, so that's fine. So let's give this a little shot. Think about Danganronpa 2 and MGS2. It's the very same sequel that stays very close to the original. Comments on the fact it gets weird and brain fucky near the end, ends in a fairly open ending, and the next game is a prequel. Is it a stretch? Yeah, probably. But I also hate Seltzer. A bit too much lemon and lime. Otherwise, pretty good. It's kind of like, it's just like a strong lemonade. I would almost say there's too much lime, actually. I think the lemon is okay. I think there's too much lime. Seltzer water is liquid depression. It's devoid of any sense of flavor, even when it has flavor. Yeah, I don't like carbon, actually, as fun. Like, that's probably the most controversial thing I've said on this stream in a while, but yeah, I don't like carbon, actually. I don't like the fuzz. I will, if I have, like, a soda that I'm really looking forward to, I, like, shake it up and, like, let the carbon out, because I like the syrup and the, like, water and the liquid, but, like, the carbon, just something about it, I'm not a fan. You hate yourself, then? You know, here's the thing. You know what, I'm not, okay, God, fuck. You really got me on the balls by that one, Maid. You got me, because I was like, shit. Do I yes and this? Or do I make a correction about the amount of carbon in people? And then my brain was like, do this, no, do this. And then it just spun in a circle, and I was like, fuck, I'm stun locked. I got stun locked by that question. I just gave up and was like, you know what, I'll just explain it. I got stupefied. Alright, shit. Anyway, yeah, that's what we're going on. Yeah, but no, I don't like seltzer because of the fizz and stuff. It also kind of tastes bad, right? It's like vaguely bitter is the thing, because that's what carbon does to liquids. So I'm just not a fan of carbon in liquids. You desecrate the fizzy goodness of carbonated beverages. Why? Yo, Headshot, what's up? How has it been? It has been a while because I haven't been streaming, and I'm sure you've been busy with your stuff also. Yeah, I know, I'm just explaining how I don't like carbonated beverages. The original context is I made a Midori sour, but I just used water instead of seltzer. It's pretty good. It really is too much lime. I ran out of lemon juice in my container first, so there is actually a slight amount of lime more than there is lemon. And in the future, I definitely think I should lean towards the lemon than the lime on this. I usually think of lime as just being stronger lemon, but you can, like, really taste the difference. It is better than the other Midori sour, just because I think the coldness of it really does add to the flavor. Yeah. Okay, God, do we have anything to talk? Oh, yeah, I have the most boring fucking topic ever, which is today I learned that, because I've been hearing about OLEDs lately, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And apparently the LED, of course, stands for light emitting diode, but, like, the O apparently stands for organic, and the organic in this case refers to carbon, so they're, like, carbon-based LEDs, apparently. So if you've been hearing about those lately, there you go. But from what I can tell, the advantages are, like, energy efficiency, and they're more flexible, like, I think, like, physically flexible, and I have heard they have a faster refresh rate, but I don't fully know on that one. I've seen some stuff on that. But anyway, yeah, so fun. If you've been hearing about OLEDs and you're like, what the fuck is an OLED? Now you fucking know. It's a carbon-based LED. That's fun. That's it. That's my boring story. OLED television has been around since 2018. I'm sure they've been around for a while, and I've heard about them for a couple years, but I would say, first off, I would say 2018 is a relatively new technology, if I'm being honest. And I really didn't start hearing about them until they made the OLED Switch, which came out probably way fucking later than I think it, like way earlier than I think it did. Um, it was released in 2021. Yeah, so the concept didn't hit my ears until relatively recently, but I would still argue 2018 is pretty new for a technology compared to, excuse me, most other technologies. Super thin and legitimately incredibly energy efficient. Yeah. All beneficial, honestly. So I get it. So yeah, not very interesting topic on that one, which is why I didn't have a slide for it. But yeah, yo, I'm gonna get so fucked up. I'm gonna get so fucked up in the stream because this is like super good. So I have to like keep going back for like I keep drinking it. It's like that kind of good, right? Oh right. I guess we're good for our first topic. I'm sorry for this one. Because this is the game that I didn't stream the entire week for just so I could get through it. Here we go. We're at Hyperdevotion Noire Goddess Blackheart. Okay. So real quick summary. Hyperdevotion Noire Goddess Blackheart is a spin-off of Nep Nep. I don't know which Nep Nep game it came afterward. It doesn't fucking matter. Who really cares? The point is, this time, Noire is the main character. Noire, of course, representing PlayStation in the Nepverse. This one doesn't take place in game industry. It takes place in an alternate dimension called Game Market. I can't believe they still make these. They do still make them, although there arguably has not been a mainline entry in like a decade. So, do they? Who knows? But this game is actually pretty old as far as it goes. Like, I believe it is younger than Mega Dimension or whatever. But anyway, the basic part of the game is that the game starts with Noire having basically taken over Game Market, not Game Industry. And basically the other girls are uniting to try and take her down, but they're losing because she just has so many shares and she's so powerful. And she starts to get a little bit of cold feet about the whole situation. So a woman comes up who gives a false name, but it's R4. I have Rebirth 1, but I never beat it. Rebirth 1 is good. Rebirth 1 would be the one I would recommend to people the most, I would say, just because it's self-contained. Because it's not canon. Because Rebirth 1 isn't canon. So Rebirth 1 is the one I would suggest if you want to dip your toes into the series. But anyway, neither's Hyperdevotion, if we're being honest. But yeah, so she teams up with R4, who ends up like destroying all of the shares of all of the countries and then creates dark shares and enacts some sort of evil plan. You know what R4 is up to. She's up to her R4 shit. I thought about trading into a used game until I learned the Vita copy is not cheap, and I was like, well, shit, I need to keep this then. Fair enough. Anyway, yeah, so this game has a sort of tactics-based combat system. Where you maneuver your characters. Orientation matters because you can get backstabbed in this, and also certain characters, there's like elevation changes in it. And so certain characters like spear wielders can't deal with elevation, so like they can't hit above them, which is fucking weird. And like the opposite of how a spear works. It should be the sword users can't, but whatever. I didn't make the goddamn game. I thought about getting the game first, but apparently Rebirth 1 is not an actual remake or whatever. The Rebirth games, from what I understand, not that I've played the original ones, are designed to align with each other better. Because originally the games were like completely disjointed and not proper sequels for each other, and so they like remade them to all be more in line. They're like slid into place like puzzles, basically. They Yakuza'd them, basically, is what I understand. They're Yakuza Kiwami games. But anyway, yeah, so it's this weird sort of like tactical game. This game is like hard as shit. Like weirdly hard as shit, actually. When I went Christmas vacation with the family, connecting flight got delayed by 20 hours. Eesh. On return trip, they tried to bump me and then somehow ended up forgetting to load your luggage. So your flight got in on the 4th. My luggage arrived yesterday. Oh, shit. That sucks. So you've had it on your Christmas then, huh? Was vacation at least good? Did you at least have a good vacation? Yo, you are gonna see the drunkest fucking sack tonight. I cannot stop drinking that. God damn, that is good. Okay. Anyway, yeah, this game is like super fucking hard. Like even on easy difficulty, I have almost died several fucking times. It is outrageous. One of the final missions, the dragon mission, has these enemies that deal like 2,000 points of damage. My characters have like 1,000 hit points, and they all cast Petrify. It is wild, and they all attack twice per turn. Like, this game is outrageous. I beat the game at like level 99 with all characters. The final boss was fucking one-shotting me. It was nuts. Like, even on easy, this game is so unnecessarily difficult. Kiwimi 1 has this huge tonal problem because Yakuza 1 and PS2 took itself super seriously and had little to no side content, Queen and nude shit, and it's in the tone with the modern Yakuza, and it's all fucked up. What was in my check luggage? Just under $1,000 in video game hardware. Damn. Kiwimi 2 is fucked up because it comes a bunch of shit from the original. What kind of shit? The entire third area of the game. Yeah, I've heard about that in Kiwimi 2 being a problem. Kiwimi 1, I actually liked them better than 0 as far as, like, the story went. There isn't the most amount of extra content in 1, and I think what's in it really adds to it well. But anyway, yeah, so the story's super basic. This adds a bunch of new characters, which are like the generals of the area. Every area has about 3 generals, except for Leanbox, which I think only has like 1 general. Like, Vert's area is very understaffed compared to the others, but that's just a long list of Vert always getting the short end of the stick narratively. But yes, yeah, let's see, game's hard, blah, 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 short hairs, yeah. The new characters are okay enough. They're all based off of famous games. So you have, Argrist War, Street Fighter, Metal Gear Solid, the fucking Dynasty Warriors games. I don't know what the fuck Puna was based on. She has some weird ball thing. I haven't played. Some of them I haven't played. One of them is like Tokimiki, which is like the definitive dating sim game that, like, I think never got localized in the West, unfortunately. But anyway, yeah, so they're all, one of them is like Gundam based. So they're all like based off of like super famous video game franchises. Well, shit, I almost realized it's almost 100. I'm gonna peace out and get some sleep before I have to get up for work. Okay, I understand, Headshot. Well, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you again, and you have a great night. Hope you get your stuff sorted out if it's not all done yet. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about one thing, though, okay? This is why I'm sorry about this, because we are going to have to talk about the stories. Because I think this game sort of fucked up the characters a little bit compared to the other NEP games. And I think the issue is that what this game reveals is that it's very hard to fundamentally make a Neptunia game where Neptune herself is not the main character. She almost doesn't work as a character if she isn't the protagonist. And the issue is, in this game, Yakuza 2 was fun because of wacky you could get with your fighting tigers or fighting a B-grade mid-boss from 1, but no, he souped up, tears pipes, and dual-wield summon as a special boss name with rap in it. But from where in the series 1 after 2, none of that was really special. 2 is great, still recommend. But yeah, so like Neptune almost doesn't work if she's not a protagonist, because the thing about Neptune is that she has a fairly complex and subtle characterization throughout all of the other games, where if you've played the Neptunia games, you will realize that Neptune herself is sort of a sleeping tiger. That's where Cosmo slamming the table meme comes from. I'm unfamiliar with that one, because Neptune's sort of a sleeping tiger, and it's kind of implied that Neptune is the strongest of the CPUs across all of the Neptunia games. Because, so it's been said before that there's like 2 kinds of leaders. There's like wartime leaders and peacetime leaders. And wartime leaders aren't great in peacetime, and peacetime leaders aren't great during wartime. And Neptune herself is a definitive war leader. So in peacetime, she basically outsources a lot of her jobs to Iffy, and she just leaves the paperwork to Nepgear in Histoire. Nepgear's not in this game, and Iffy is a DLC character, so she barely has anything to do in this. But yeah, so that's what Neptune does during peacetime. Whenever Neptune is in a crisis, literally all of the other CPUs end up following her lead. She instantly just steals a bunch of shares from them and becomes one of, if not the most popular CPU. And she is, like, unquestionably the most powerful as far as combat goes. Like, it is pretty consistently shown that, like, what the series tells you is that all of the CPUs are equal with each other. That's what they always say is true, but the evidence disproves this claim. Even Noire, who's, like, super stuck on herself, when Uni was like, you should be able to easily beat Neptune, she's super weak, and Noire's like, no, she's, like, as strong as me. Like, I don't think Noire has ever fought Neptune seriously in canon. Because when you go through the true endings, you don't really end up with Neptune Noire fights. So there's almost an implication from that Neptune is goofing the fuck off and Noire is serious when she's fighting. Like, a goofing off Neptune is equivalent to Noire being serious. And I think the further evidence to this is whenever we see Neptune actually lose a fight, it is always in the context of all three of the other CPUs being forced to gang up on her. Yo, Kaido, what is up? It has been a while, guys. I haven't done anything in a while. How have you been? Thank you for the Prime sub. How are you doing? What's going on? That's still fire. Been good. Great to hear it. Excuse me. We're talking about the Flanderization of Neptune in Hyperdevotion Noire, which is an incredibly niche topic. But, yeah, so you have the flu. Oh, shit, that sucks. Not too bad, I hope, right? Not like hospital flu, though. Like normal flu, right? It's a sad scene, but what makes it a meme is Kiwimi 2, the sound of him slamming the table is so loud it peaks. Oh, shit. It's terrible? Oh, no. Do you need to go to a hospital? Have you seen, like, a doctor or something? Or what's going on? Why is my fucking green screen blowing? There's no wind. I'm indoors. You're throwing up, but you have fluids ready. Okay, all right. You have a source of electrolytes, right? Like a Gatorade or a Powerade or something like that. Prime's not electrolytes. I hope I don't need to say this. Don't drink Prime for electrolytes. It's very bad at hydrating you. Which is funny because it sounds normal in the original. For those that are wondering why Prime is bad at hydration, the things they boast about is that it has less sugar and less salt, and that's the exact opposite of what you want from a hydration benefit. My room is now my quarantine zone. My coworker drinks Prime like every day. Lots of electrolytes, multiple bottles. Okay, you guys, it's good if you have the electrolytes to replenish the fluids. Well, shit, Kaido, that fucking sucks. I hope you feel better. Prime tastes good, though, at least. I have heard that. I have heard good things about the flavor of Prime. If that's here's the thing. If your reason for drinking Prime is you like the taste, valid, you know? Keep on keeping on. If your reason for drinking Prime is you want to supply KSI or Logan Paul with more money, I question your life choices, but also valid, I guess. But if you're actually trying to drink Prime for hydration purposes, please pick a different sports beverage. Please pick, like, a Liquid IV or a Powerade or a Gatorade. Like, something that will actually hydrate you. You've had 2 Prime bottles in your life. This is a 27-year-old woman. She also said her dream is to quit and become a Codemaster. I mean, wish her fucking luck. You know what? Who doesn't want to be a Codemaster? Both were given to Powerade. Powerade's good. According to Powerade, it actually has more electrolytes than Gatorade. So, I'm not sure how accurate it actually is. I forget the numbers, but I buy Powerade because I'm a cheapskate, and it's cheaper than Gatorade. Ha! Only reason to need, baby! I think it's funny. I didn't say she couldn't do it. Powerade bottles are so large for like $2. Yes, that is why. That's why. That's why. Yeah, I don't really care which one's better at hydrating. I need to drink a bottle of some sort of electrolyte fluid every week because I just don't eat enough salt in my diet. So, I don't know about that. Gatorade has a lot of flavors. Gatorade has a lot of stupid flavors. If you're buying in bulk, Powerade might have more flavors, but I cannot go through a grocery store without seeing 500 flavors of Gatorade, none of which are appealing, because all Gatorade flavors taste exactly the fucking same. Also, their cherry flavor is white. Can we talk about that? Why? Who's like, ah, yes, cherry is white. The fucking Gatorade. My friend was drinking Gatorade and it literally smelled like semen. And he was like, I don't know what you're going on about. They all taste like slightly worse blue flavor. Yes. I've mentioned this on stream before, but like I'm a Nosmiac, so I have no idea. So I will take your words for it. But anyway, Gatorade has an odd semen stench to it. I guess. I don't know. Gatorade is stored in the bottles. Oh shit. Anyway, yeah, so what we've seen from the... I will continue to participate in this conversation, but I do need to continue with this review. Not full semen, but like 25% don't want to drink that much cum. Okay, alright. 25% is too much cum. Understood. Where are we aiming at? Closer to 10 or something? 10 or 5, something like that? What's our cum percentage that's acceptable? Maybe don't answer that. I'm not sure we need that answer actually on second thought, but so we've seen that when Neptune it's 100% or 0%. Understood. You know what? Respectable. That when Neptune goes down, it normally takes every CPU to actually fight her. And we know from like the Cursed Sword ending that if Neptune wanted to, she could just roll up to any of the CPUs at any point and she could just murder all of them. Like, she's in Cursed Sword, she just straight up kills everyone and their families. So we do know that like Neptune is pretty much perpetually holding herself back. Also in Nep 3, we also see that when she types up with Plutia, when she has to invade enemy territory, she is very competent at doing that. In fact, she does it in Nep 1 also, is that she can just invade enemy territory with relative ease. She just steals their shares, she just beats the shit out of them. Even when they like transform, they still have trouble fighting Neptune. So like Neptune is like disproportionately stronger than everyone else. Jetstream of Cum, a real line of dialogue from Fate Stay Night. Oh god, is it the church scene? Is that a line in the church stream? Is that a church scene issue? Or I'm gonna guess the context of that is either one of the many Sakura sex scenes or it was from the church. It's literal too. It's in Heaven's Feel Nightmare sequence where he's fucking Rin. Oh, okay. Alright. Okay, so it was Heaven's Feel. Interesting. But not... I would have assumed it was a Sakura sex scene. But, okay then. There are so many, like, terrible cum-based lines from, like, Japanese writers. To be fair, I'm pretty sure there's you know what? I might be being unfair here because I've seen some pretty shitty sex dialogue in Western media also. I had a friend who was reading 50 Shades of Grey. Excuse me. Poor Rin in the sex scene in her own route. Shiro is bad. She can't even get wet, and when he does fuck her again, it's in a nightmare and writer. More reasons why Unlimited Blade Works is the worst route. There's a line in 50 Shades of Grey where they mention that Anastasia's orgasms are like the spin cycles of a washing machine. And I read that fucking line in high school, and it has stuck with me my entire life. That fucking line just lives rent free in my fucking head ever since I read it. Oh shit, the sex writing in 50 Shades is terrible. I love terrible sex translations. Yeah, it's fucking great. But yeah, in Nep 3, it's shown that she can, like, granted it's a different dimension, but she can pretty cleanly just invade other people's territories and just take it over. And so the point I'm trying to make is she's also the one most willing to engage in lethality. Because when we look into Mega Dimension, when someone has to kill Uzume, Uzume, like, asks Nepgear, and Nepgear's like, I can't fucking do it, and, like, none of the other girls do it, and then Neptune is the one that kills Uzume. So what we get is that Neptune could kill everyone, and Neptune is the character in the series, maybe after Blanc, which we'll get to, who is most willing to kill everyone. So she's very much a sleeping tiger that's just, like, on the edge of a razor blade at every fucking moment. Like, everyone exists, and the console war exists because Neptune allows the console war to exist. I need to bring up the scene from Neuromancer where Molly comes to talk sci-fi bullshit with Cass, and then she grabs his dick and Ah, yes, the patented seduction technique of just grabbing the dick. It works more than you'd expect, but less than you'd hope. Because some people find that really fucking awkward, actually. What is this? What am I looking at? I'm going somewhere. I know I'm getting there slowly, but I'm going somewhere. Excuse me. At least 65 for sex rate. Fine. That sounds accurate. I think it's right around there. Now she straddled him again, took his hand and closed it over her, his thumb along the cleft of her buttocks, his finger spread across the labia. As she began to lower herself, the images came pulsing back, the faces, fragments of neon arriving and receding. She slid down around him, and his back arched convulsively. She rode him that way, impaling herself, slipping down on him again and again, until they both had come, his orgasm flaring blue in timeless space, a vastness like the Matrix, where faces were shredded, blown away down hurricane corridors, and her thighs were strong and wet against his hips. So my issue with this is not what you think. It's not the line impaling herself. In fact, I'm fine with that. I don't think that's the sexiest language you could use, but I think it's an accurate portrayal of what is happening. My issue with it is that is one hell of a run-on sentence. Because she rode him that way, impaling herself, slipping down again and again. They both had come in his orgasm, flaring blue in timeless space, in a vastness like Matrix, where faces were shredded and blown away down hurricane corridors, and her thighs were strong and wet against his hips, is one sentence? That is one sentence? Who writes that as one sentence? That's so long. My issue is with the fucking punctuation more than anything. In fact, that entire thing you are showing me contains 2 sentences over the course of an entire paragraph. That is wild. Periods, my dude. Use them. No, it's 3 periods. I'm sorry. My microphone's pop filter covered one of the periods. Still, 3 periods over the course of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 3 periods over 10 lines. Holy shit. I think that's worse than That's worse than calling sex impaling. Like, genuinely, I'm more upset about the number of periods in that paragraph. Oh my god. Holy shit. Also, side note, this fucking image you sent is 4,000 by 3,000? This resolution is super high. Have you seen much Marvel's Rivals content? Have I mean, okay, the answer is I know vaguely what Marvel's Rivals is. I know everyone's thirsty for Squirrel Girl. I get it. She canonically has a huge ass, like even in the comics. But no, I'm not super aware. And I've seen like a few strategy videos about like this is what you can do with Doctor Strange's teleports. But like no, I haven't played it and I haven't seen much going on. I'm assuming there is going to be, considering it's overtaken Overwatch in popularity by a wide margin, and Overwatch was primarily popular specifically because it had like high quality porn. I can only imagine the Marvel Rivals porn is gonna fucking balloon wildly out of control going forward. Luna Snow is the new TikTok thing. Yeah, here's the crazy part. I don't even know who that character is. I don't know. I took it with my phone like a year ago. Your phone's got a really high res camera then. That's fucking crazy. Marvel Rivals porn is already too much. I'm not shocked to hear that. Yeah, Luna Snow isn't even a Marvel character I'm familiar with. So it's weird she made Soul He. Yeah, I have no idea who this fucking character is. Who the fuck is this? Excuse me. Affiliation with the Agents of Atlas. All of her family is dead. She was born in Korea. The good Korea. She has a relationship with some dude named Braun, who I've never heard of. Yeah, I don't know who this fucking is. I'm not gonna lie with you. I am looking at this, and she, during a party of the Pan-Asian School for the Unusually Gifted. Yeah, I'm looking at this. I don't know who this fucking character is. That, like, they dug deep on Luna Snow, is what I'm saying. Because, like, I know a good amount of Marvel stories. Marvel's not my thing. DC is. But, like, I feel like I should know who this fucking is. And I'm clueless. When was she created? She was created in 2019. Oh, no wonder I have no idea who the fuck this is. Never mind. I don't feel bad. If she was created in, like, 1970, I'd be like, how have I never heard of this person? You have a Samsung Galaxy A51 5G, so that's what the camera is. Okay, I have a slightly older phone, I think. A lot of cosplayers are cosplaying her. I mean, she looks cute as shit. I like her design. But yeah, no idea who this character is. And finding out that she came out in 2019, I'm not surprised. This image almost looks AI generated on the Marvel Wiki, though. Like, it has a very AI generated art style. And I feel bad if this was made by a real human, but it almost doesn't look like it was made by a real human. Like, it doesn't... Because it's got that very, like, hyper-real... Like, my computer could make this, is what I'm saying. Like, I fucked around a little bit with AI art for purely semi-ethical purposes. My computer could make that exact image, is the thing. But, anyway. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, Neptune can kill everyone in the entire cast in most timelines. In, like, most of the dimensions, Neptune can just kill you. And she's kind of willing to, sort of. And it's sort of revealed in Mega Dimension that the reason Neptune doesn't just murder everyone and win the console war, even though she totally has the ability to do that, is because Neptune... Her ideal reality, like her perfect world, is a reality in which she's almost not a CPU, in which she's just a normal person who is sort of friends with everyone in the country and everyone gets along and is peaceful. So, like, Neptune's gimmick is the reason the console war continues, and the reason she doesn't just kill everyone and win is because she doesn't want to, because she's kind of too nice and good of a person. And this is a very subtle bit of characterization for Neptune. Like, the fact that Neptune is the strongest and could just win, but is literally too nice to just win, to the point where she's almost implied to be holding back and intentionally almost losing, because she's consistently ranked as the lowest of the CPUs, is sort of a massive character point for Neptune. It is that she could win, but doesn't. I have a new PC now. I'm satisfied for another, like, 3 years or a month. Oh, shit. All right. You know, drop the specs. Fuck it. Let me be jelly. I need to get a new computer, but I do not have the money right now. Y'all, I'm getting a little tipsy. You're not getting... I don't think you're getting drunk sack tonight. I think you're not getting past tipsy sack. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't think there's a... Oops, excuse me. I don't think there's enough alcohol in this for me to become... Never mind. Mid-sentence, it hit me. Mid-sentence, I was mid-sentence, and I felt a drop. And I'm like, oh, never mind, I'm drunk. I went from tipsy to drunk at that exact moment. Mid-sentence, I went from tipsy to drunk. These are the specs Wikipedia list for the camera. 48 MP wide, 12 MP ultra wide, 5 MP macro, and 5 MP depth. Means nothing to me, might to you. That is the amount of pixels in the camera. So I'm guessing 48 MP is probably what you took it on, which is 4000 by 3000 is what I'm assuming. Because I think MP is megapixels. Mega. Oop, I forgot. No, I hit the M. I'm not that drunk. Eat shit. Yeah, I think it's a megapixel. Yeah, it's a megapixel. That was right. My friend gave me a new 4070. Nice! And I bought an i7 1470 KF pair. Okay. I can take pride in my CPU still being better. But that is because I bought an unnecessarily powerful CPU. When I bought my CPU, I literally was like, this motherfucker is space-age technology. It came in a fucking... I'm not joking. It came in a fucking, like, dodecahedron. It came in like a fucking space... Like... It's like fucking space technology. I kept it. I kept the box. It came in such an insane packaging that I kept the fucking box. Because I'm like, this is too cool to not own. I could, at some point in time, I could store something in this fucking box. Oh, but yeah, no, your graphics card's way fucking better. My graphics card's old as shit. It's, I think it's a 2070. They didn't have the 3000 series when I bought my 2070, in my defense, and I haven't upgraded it in, like, 5-ish years. It's still good, though. Like, I'm not hitting minimum standards on anything, and I think I've only ever seen one game where I'm not meeting recommended. So, it's like... The thing is, if your computer is far enough advanced, there's this sort of, like, pressure to keep getting better and better computer components. But, like, if you get a top-end rig, honestly, you're good for, like... Realistically, you could be good for up to a decade before you really need to upgrade, is the thing. As long as, like, nothing fails on you... If you really do get a high-end rig, they will keep your minimum standards for a good fucking while. Like, you don't need to upgrade as often as people try and pressure you. Only newer store games will punish the 2070. I've only seen one, honestly. I really have. I even, like, most modern... And I don't even remember what it was, and it wasn't even a game I wanted to play that badly. The whole 20 series was awesome. Yeah. I've only seen one thing that it wasn't recommended, and even then, it wasn't like the recommended was higher than the 2070, but it wasn't like minimum standards. It was like mid-range in that regard. So, the 30 series and the 4050 were terrible, though. Were they? I know they're better than the 2070, but is up to par with Lane's mega PC that she needed to flood her room to cool. So, I don't know. I mean, do we have the specs for Lane's Mega PC? Because I will tell you, if they exist, I will tell you. I actually think Lane's PC is, like, super fucking weak, wasn't it? Because I remember, I think she does mention the specs at one point, and I think her computer is actually really shitty. Lane's PC. Does she mention it? I feel like at one point she mentions one specific thing about her computer, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that sucks. No, I don't have it. I will tell you this. My CPU is a fucking space heater. Like, it outputs. That's actually an issue with all Intel CPUs, especially the power ones. My CPU is a fucking heater. IAOs have so much more. I turn my fucking computer on, and it goes, and the room heats to fuck. My cooling system is really good, so it keeps the CPU good. I actually use a Noctua fans, because I use the largest size Noctua fan that was available at the time. There is actually one higher Noctua fan now. And because here's the reason: one, Noctua fans are actually cheaper than water cooling, and two, I've actually seen proof that for the first hour, water cooling is the superior cooling method. But once the water heats up inside of the coolant system, the water cooling system only becomes as efficient as a high grade fan. In which case, the fan is cheaper. And also, if a fan fails, your entire system doesn't flood with water. Like, if your water cooling system, breaks, your whole fucking PC is, fucked. Whereas if a fan breaks, you have to replace maybe a few parts, like tops. So, sit around 30 degrees on CPU heavy games. It's like 50 on the high end. Yeah, and my fan does that exactly, though, is what I'm saying. Is my fan can do that. So, there's, this huge pressure for water cooling, because for the first hour it is more efficient. But, yeah, as evidence has gone to show, air cooling is, after the first hour, just as efficient as water cooling. Because once your water reaches a certain temperature in heavy loads, it stops mattering. And if you're not in heavy loads, your cooling system doesn't matter that much anyway, because you don't need to eke out that minor efficiency. Fans are cheaper and efficient, but water cooling just looks so much better. You're not incorrect, but I also don't really care how much my PC looks like. I will intentionally buy, for my case, I just buy cubes. My computer is a cube. I like it looking as stupid and boring as possible. I just have a big rectangle under my desk right now. Yeah. Y'all don't need to see my PC. You don't need to see it. It's not pretty. I turned the lights off, too. The LEDs annoy me. I don't like it when it looks pretty. I want it to look like a cube. There's space in my case to put a figure or something in there. I probably could. A small one, but I don't need to do that. But I don't need to. I have a pretty large case. But I'm leaning towards an Among Us character. Okay, alright, okay. I've never played that game. Heard good things, don't think anyone plays it anymore. But, am familiar. What the fuck was I talking about? Oh yeah, Neptune can kill everyone and doesn't because she's too nice. That's the basic point we're getting to. Excuse me. Anyway, the point is, Neptune being a sleeping tiger and having the capacity to kill everyone and the console war existing because she is friends with everyone and because she likes them as friends is such a fundamental component of her character that the fact that this game makes Noire the one who is winning the console war, it fundamentally changes Neptune as a character, and it's very much a case of Flanderization, where if Neptune is not the strongest, she's almost not the same character, because a Neptune who can't win the console war whenever the fuck she feels like is a character who is essentially goes from being this invincible warrior who allows her friends to continue existing out of pure kindness, and instead wraps around to sort of like a lazy, she's just like generally lazy and incompetent. Like, she goes from being potentially the best CPU to the absolute worst one on every level, who refuses to engage in even the most minimal amount of work. And it, like, fundamentally changes Neptune as a character, and because they can't specifically dive into the fact that Neptune literally is horribly incompetent at her job, and in this case, in this game, she's incompetent at her job because she is incompetent at her job, and not because she is willfully holding back. We end up in a situation where Neptune's primary gimmick is she eats pudding, and she makes fourth wall breaking jokes. And that's, like, not much of a character. And I think that's why this game specifically refuses to engage in Neptune as a character and gives her so little screen time. The one example we see is she, like, is really nice to Little Rain. And I think the primary purpose of this is how do you address a character who you have fundamentally dismantled because the concept of your game does not allow them to properly exist. Now I've made my own PCI'd crim everything in a 2007 Dell Optiplex 7060. Made? I don't even know what that is. I have, however, watched The Thing. Oh, you're comparing The Thing to Among Us. You know what? I get it. What's more is that in this scenario, Noire's gimmick is that she is, she's very standoffish and isolationist, and she's inherently lonely because she pushes the people she cares about away from her. And she sort of, like, she's very tsundere in that she refuses to engage with the people around her. And in this scenario, where we have this, where Noire is the one winning the console war, a big component about this, they do explore a bit of Noire's standoffishness, and she does go through this arc where she learns to not be standoffish, and we do go through this arc where she becomes less lonely, because this is basically about Noire finding friends, which I think is a good exploration of her character, and I think a natural progression of her. But in this scenario where the console war is in a scenario where Noire is the one who is winning, and Neptune isn't strong enough to win whenever she fucking feels like, we're in a situation where the whole game exists in a universe where Noire has taken on the fundamental components of Neptune's personality. Like, Neptune's personality is so geared towards being a protagonist that the only way Noire functions properly as one in this scenario is for Noire to partially become Neptune. And I think that is a fundamental issue in this game's writing. This thing. Okay. My cousin used a case similar to that and put it in a 3090. I like it. I like it. I do like it. It's not as cube-like as my current cube, because my current cube is a cube, but the more boring your case, the more if you show me a case and it lights up, I hate it, because I turn off my lights. My computer comes with lights, and I turn them off. I had to go into my BIOS the other day because my lights turned themselves on, and I was like, fuck you, I hate you, I don't want you on. I want my computer dark and boring and cube-like. It's literally just a white box. I cannot get over... I cannot properly describe to you how much of a white box my computer is. It does have a glass panel so that you can see the internals, but if you're thinking, oh, well, Sac definitely decorated his internals. No. Silly. I did not. Sac doesn't want the RGB gamer lights. I have them. I turn them off. I don't like them. I do, however, like it when my mouse is RGB. Yeah. And my keyboard is RGB. The rainbows, because I'm gay as fuck. That wasn't me coming out. I'm pretty openly not gay. But it was a funny line. Anyway. Yeah, so Neptune gets a little flanderized in this game, and I'm not a fan of it. I love RGB parts, but I hate RGB peripherals. Interesting. You're like the exact opposite of me. Here's the thing. I actually specifically look for glow-in-the-dark keyboards. Because I have realized that if your keyboard glows in the dark, it is actually, like, easier to find the letters on the keyboard. Like, it makes typing easier. It's actually sort of a practicality thing. As for why it's rainbow, I don't know, rainbows are cool. Who hates on rainbows? I have my keyboard set to solid dim red, and I use G Pro Sunlight too. As long as it's glowing, it's okay. The thing is, I've realized that, like, I keep the lights on because the lights themselves just make it easier to see what is happening. I don't need it on my mouse, I guess. I guess I could turn it off on my mouse, but I don't find it that distracting. And it sort of, it has this almost like cool aesthetic to it. I don't know, rainbows are cool. Fuck off. Shine through keycaps would be a good investment for you. Excuse me. That sounds like effort. I buy my keyboards from China for $20, and they're made out of metal, and they last 3 years, and they glow. And that is my requirements for a keyboard. I require a numpad, and I require glow-in-the-dark keys. I require a numpad and lit keys, and a metal. And that's it. That's my requirements for a keyboard. And you can get that in China for $20. I had a keyboard phase last year. I've never had a keyboard phase in my life. And for my mouse, I used to require a normal mouse, and then I specifically got an RGB mouse. And now I require... now my mouse requirements have gone up, and now I have a Jesus Christ! Why the fuck do you have a $250 keyboard? If a keyboard costs $250, at some point it better fucking blow me, is my thing. Yeah, my requirements for my mouse is bare minimum. I need it has to be a 4-button mouse. It has to be a 5-button mouse minimum. Because once I learned the delight of having a forward and a back button tied to your mouse, I was like, I can't go back. I can't click the arrow in the top of the browser window ever again. I must always click it on my mouse. It has to be a dedicated mouse button now. And my mouse also changes my API, which I enjoy greatly because I like the ability to swap my API on the fly. I had a really cool mouse before, which let me manually set my API based on a software program, which was also made in China because China just makes really cheap electronics. But that mouse broke, and I had to replace it with this other shitty, I think not Chinese mouse, which... I can't adjust my API, which has like set levels of API. So I think I'm using like 2000 API when I actually prefer closer to 1800 API, just because I can't manually set them. And I could have bought a more expensive mouse, but I don't like buying more expensive shit. I'll just buy cheap Chinese shit because it works and it's cheap. So why is it called blowjob? No blowing is involved. What a good question. I have never known. That was a lie. I've only been with one lady. I don't know. You know what? Fuck it. We'll do it live. Before I continue to talk about Hyperdevotion Noire, which will keep going until I do my entire arc about character flanderization. My arc about character flanderization. We will stay here until I finish talking about this game. We're going to find out why is a blowjob called a blowjob. Why? Probably because someone at one point did it wrong. Really, it should be a suck job, right? Why is a blowjob called a blowjob? That's my favorite arc. I'm going to go to just answers because it's going to give me a good spinning off point. This is according to Wikipedia. The term blow is a misnomer, as blowing is not normally part of fellatio. Blowing into airs into one penis is an unhealthy practice. It's most commonly thought to be a factitious use of blow as opposed to suck. It is suggested to be a corruption of below job, an old Victorian slang term commonly used to describe the act. However, there is a thought that believes blow indicates the climax of the penis, comparing the blowing of a volcano. Please remember to click the green accept button so I paid for my answer. Positive feedback is appreciated. So according to Wikipedia, at least, according to this person, according to Wikipedia, it is either a corruption of the term billow, B-E-L-O-W, as in going under, job, as in doing a job under, as in doing an under job, or it is a usage of the word blow, as in to explode or erupt, as in a volcano, or when you shake a bottle really hard. So that's what Wikipedia claims. And I think that's... So the answer, actually, according to Wikipedia, is we don't know why it's called a blowjob. But there's two theories right there. So who knows? TikTok Shop is, funnily enough, probably the best place for budget quality keyboards. The good old underjob. It doesn't sound as good, honestly, is part of the reason. Like, if you were to offer me an underjob or a blowjob, I think I would probably go for the blowjob, is the thing. So I kind of get it. You know what I'm saying? Oh no, I'm out of alcohol. Or am I? Haha, yeah, that's right. Yeah. Um, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Neptune's flanderized as hell in this game because she can't fundamentally operate as the same character if she's not the strongest character. Is she the strongest because she's Neptune, or is she Neptune because she's the strongest? That's the question that Hyperdevotion Noire does not ask, but I am asking to you right now, because in order to facilitate a game where Noire is winning the console war, you need to create a scenario in which Noire is at least partially containing Neptune's personality traits. And in order to explore the characterization of Noire's loneliness and self-isolation due to her personality flaws, you need to prescribe to her traits given to Neptune in order to actually interact with these traits. And I think that's almost a detraction point for this game, is that in order to become a protagonist, Noire needs to become Neptune. And I don't think that's a really good aspect of this. Sac, are you oddly sensual drunk or kids hide in the closet dark? I don't know. If I'm being honest, I'm a happy drunk, actually. It's one of the greatest discoveries I've ever made, is I'm the kind of drunk that's, like, really happy. And, like, because some people are angry drunks or sad drunks, and I'm a happy drunk. And I'm like, oh, fucking thank God. Thank God I got that one. On the subject, in the book I'm writing, one of the villains, the book you're writing or book you're writing? One of the villains is a witch whose power is using nostalgia to kill people. Okay, interesting. Or reading. Wakes up another villain's jizz on her stomach, which is of course described in detail, and yet she never washes it off. So the whole interaction between the two after she leaves and the scene changes, I was like, did she whip this shit off yet? Reading. No, it just crusts on her. It just stays on there. Forever. What the fuck are you reading? What a weird scenario that this book has imagined. But yeah, as far as we're talking about the other CPUs, because we might as well talk about the other CPUs, this game does a weird thing with Vert, which is that one of her generals is this girl named Ai, who's based off of Idolmaster. And she acts as sort of Vert's impromptu Vampire Hunter D Mysterious Journey to the North Sea Part 2. Somehow, that one answer to the question has answered every other question I was going to have about this, and I no longer have any more questions. But yeah, Vert has this girl named Ai, who's the general that represents Idolmaster. And Ai basically functions as Vert's little sister, which is a weird subversion to one of Vert's most common traits, which is that Vert is the youngest of the CPUs, the youngest of the goddesses, and she's also theoretically the smartest and most competent, and that her country is able to rival the development of Laystation, of Noire's country, very quickly in very little amounts of time, sometimes even surpassing it. And one of the key things about Vert is she's basically a prodigy that is excelling as a CPU beyond what any of the others are. And she is the youngest, but also that Vert is so inherently lonely. And because all of the other characters have mentors they can look after, and friends, and sisters, in fact. And then Vert is just by herself. The closest she has is Chiaki, who isn't even in this game. But with giving Vert a little sister, which is the thing she has wanted the most, is a weird subversion to Vert's character. And it's another example of this game perverting the characters from the other series in order to facilitate the story it's trying to tell. Because in order to create these generals that all of the other characters give, you end up taking away a fundamental concept of Vert, which is her inherent isolation as being the youngest of the CPUs without anyone to fall back on and without anyone to genuinely support her. This game takes such a weird turn with subverting all of the fundamental aspects of the characters. In part one, her last scene involves her meeting the other villain, and he literally grabs her by the hair and drags her away. Next we see them is, that. As for killing people with nostalgia, how it's described in the book, she makes them see dead loved ones to make them A, kill themselves, or B, she stabs them. I have to say, method B, pretty effective. I've heard good things about stabbing people. I'm not going to put it out. I'm just putting it out there. I've heard stabbing people is pretty good at killing them. Take that how you will. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. As for Blanc, you might be wondering what this game does with Blanc. And she is mostly the same in this. Blanc's whole gimmick in the other games is that she's old, and she has a flat chest, and she's angry about these things. And she's basically consistently portrayed in this as well. Although, I will say that I am... I'm too drunk to remember the term. Depreciating, undervaluing, underselling. I'm being reductive with Blanc, because Blanc is typically characterized as being the oldest of CPUs, and it is specifically stated in the other games that Blanc has seen other CPUs come and fall before. I wish sleep could take me away, but the flu, phlegm, coughs won't let me. Well, I'm sad to hear about that, Kato. But on the plus side, you get to see this lovely stream where we talk about jizz, and I drink alcohol, and I spend an hour trying to get through a single review because I'm distracted by jizz conversations. So, is it all bad? Is it all bad, though? Is my question to you. All right? Is it 100% bad? I don't know about that. But yeah, Blanc is an interesting character in the other games because she's the oldest and she's seen other CPUs rise and fall. And one of her signature weapons is the CPU Crusher, which is said to have killed gods. And so there is an implication that where Blanc is in the console war as the old lady who is still fighting is the reason there are CPUs that she cleared, that have had the way cleared for. The reason Noire was able to exist, the reason Neptune was able to exist, the reason Vert was able to exist is because what happened to the other gods is Blanc fucking killed them. Like, as far when we talk about which character is most willing to just straight fucking kill someone, honestly, outside of Neptune, it is probably Blanc, because there's heavy implications across the games that Blanc has already killed the other CPUs, and the reason the current generation exists is because Blanc hasn't killed them yet. Now, granted, Blanc probably can't kill them, is, I think, interesting. The stream has made me forget about this mean headache, though, so... I wish sleep good. Hey, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, like, Blanc is probably, like, most people don't think about it, Blanc has probably killed gods before. And it's worth noting that Noire is probably special and that she is driven to excel beyond all of the others. Like, her fundamental desire to improve is an aspect of her. And Vert is such a... like, prodigy that she continues to excel and compete even with the overachieving Noire. And Neptune is so naturally powerful that the CPUs in their current state, where Neptune allows the console war to continue, have reached a sort of equilibrium with Blanc's experience. And throughout the other course of the other Neptune games, what we basically see is that Blanc is almost implied to want to be left alone, whereas all of the others are lonely and constantly want other people to acknowledge them and accept them and treat them as their own. We have Blanc, who wants to be left alone. She has sisters and she has allies in like Mina and stuff in her citizens, but she just wants to, like, wrap herself up in a blanket and read a book and not fucking talk to anyone. And we get this idea that Blanc is essentially an old lady who is almost, like, beset by, like, PTSD and trauma from the horrors she has witnessed and committed herself. And And she clearly doesn't want to be a CPU. She wants to stop being a goddess. But she's in this scenario where her responsibility to her country is outweighing her own personal desires. She's like Neptune, who doesn't want to become a goddess, but she's sort of stuck in it for a completely different reason. And we see throughout the course of the other games that Blanc's hardness is softening because game industry reaches in equilibrium. And I will say, I think the softness like from the equilibrium is diluted in Hyperdevotion Noire, where Noire is winning. But then Blanc has always never had a chance at winning the console war in any of the other games. It's always been Neptune, because Neptune can just flip the switch whenever she wants. So I would say Blanc is the one who is most on character in this game. But yeah, I think it's interesting that changing the main character of the series has forced the characters to fundamentally change, because Neptune's character is written in such a way that she needs to be the main character, and they don't know what to do when she is not. Ironic, since Sega, pulled out. Yeah, it's actually weird that, like, because Neptune is essentially the personification of a Sega console that never fucking existed. She's like the Sega, what is it? Not the Sega Saturn, the thing that was supposed to come after the Sega Saturn. I think it was the Sega Neptune. Is actually what it was called. But I do think that, like, Sega pulling out of the console war is sort of... Because the thing about Sega consoles were, like, wild. Before Saturn. Well, Neptune is... Because whatever the last Sega console was, I don't remember what it was the Dreamcast or the Saturn? Neptune was supposed to be the sequel console to that Sega ended up canceling and not actually making. Like, that's what she's inspired by. She's inspired by a console that was never made. But, like, Sega was so ahead of the fucking console game that they were, like, living in the future, and people weren't prepared for the future that Sega was creating at the time, because they had, like, modern console shit, and their, like, fucking Dreamcast. Like online features and shit that just did not exist. It was called the Sega Neptune. It would be a 32-bit system and was turned into a 32. You had Evian States slot into it like they're baiting. But yeah, so I mean, I think the concept of Sega could have won the console war if it had actually tried is not accurate, because I think Neptune handedly defeated I think Nintendo handedly defeated Sega in the console war. You had to shove it on top of your Genesis. Because Nintendo won, I don't think anyone's questioning that. But it is worth noting that you could make an argument that if you go across the entire Neptune history, the one that Blanc actually defeated was Uzume. In the Neptune universe, it was actually Uzume that Blanc defeated, because Blanc, I believe, was right around the time Uzume was. And I think Blanc's memories were destroyed when Uzume switched into Mega Dimension. So... I forgot what I was going to say. My face is numb. Another VGN quote about the 32 Sega CD. Look at the poor Genesis. It's like it's getting gangrene. That sounds like an AVGN quote. Anyway, yeah, it's interesting. They needed to fundamentally change all of the characters' personalities in order to enable a noir-based playthrough. And like Iffy and Comp are barely in this. They have nothing to do with it. But yeah, so the game is good as an alternate universe telling where Noire is the main character. And also there's almost a self-insert character who's like a silent... He's not silent, but like he's not voiced. His name is Secretary. And excuse me, think the idea is that your secretary in this game, like you, the player, are secretary, and you're Noire's secretary, and your goal is you have a semi-romantic relationship with Noire, but secretary has such a distinct personality that he's almost like his own separate character, and I think they were just afraid to add men to the game, because there's only a handful of men in the entire Neptunia series. And I mean, like, it's a very small number. It's like 5, I think. It might be 3 or 5. He's not wrong. Honestly, have you seen the Genesis with all the shit on it? It looks terrible. A guy in this series, I was under the impression men didn't exist. I know of Umio, and I think there's a one guy, and Secretary exists. Yeah, I think the point is you're supposed to be Secretary in this game. But Secretary has such a distinct personality, and he has a pseudo-romantic relationship with Noire that, like, I can't project myself as Secretary. Like, if the goal is for me to be Secretary, and I'm supposed to be like, I'm Secretary, I'm in a pseudo-romantic relationship with Noire, I don't act anything like fucking Secretary. Also, if I had to choose a Neptune girl to have a relationship with, I don't think it would be Noire. It would be Falcom, specifically Adult Falcom, because Adult Falcom can fucking get it, because I think Adult Falcom is basically just a gender-swapped version of the main character of Ease. I don't know what that says about me. I think what that says about me is a gender-swapped version of the main character of Ease can fucking get it, is what I'm saying. But otherwise, you ever seen a game where the self-insert is, like, genuinely insulting? No. I don't think I have. Why? Do you have an example of that? But if it wasn't Yeez, if it wasn't Falcom, I don't know. Is it weird that the games go out of their way to make all of the characters as sexually attractive as possible, but I kind of wouldn't fuck any of them? Is that weird? Uni. I might fuck Uni. Uni can get it. Uni's cute as shit. I'm, like, blown away by how cute Uni is. I don't know if but Uni's kind of just, like, normal cute. Is it, like, Uni's kind of cute, but not in the way I want to fuck her, is the thing. Like, Uni is, like, reasonably cute, especially if you put the little Nazi hat on her. Don't ask. But, like, not in the way that I'm, like, sexually attracted to her. It's weird. It's, like, I don't know if there's a Neptune character I'm, like, sexually attracted to. Not by name, but anything where the self-insert is pervy, shitty guy, that's a little insulting me. I understand that fully. No, Secretary's actually, like, really chaste in this game, if you can believe that. Like, he's clearly supposed to be your self-insert, but he's, like, really chaste, and he's really respectful of all of the girls. Like, really respectful. He's, like, a good dude. Like, he's actually a good guy. I almost wish Secretary was in other games, but I wish they gave him a fucking voice and a character model. He's, like, super heroic and stuff, and he, like, ends the game as being, like, Noire's, like, special dedicated thing. There's a sort of implied relationship between the two of them that they would never actually engage into because Noire's too busy being a god. It's very, like, Mustang Hawkeye, like Mustang Riza from, like, Full Metal Alchemist, is the sort of relationship that Secretary has with Noire in this game. There's a few archetypes for self-inserts that guys don't seem to mind, but any girl playing will scoff at. That's one of them. What is? Being a good guy? The good guy archetype? Or being a huge pervert? Anyway, did I talk all about this game? I feel like I did. I feel like we've been here for an hour. And even if I didn't, I should finish talking about it. The pervert archetype. Oh, yeah, I don't like the pervert archetype either, is the thing. Like, if they're, like, super creepy, I don't vibe with them. The problem with self-insert is I'm a fucking weirdo. And matching my personality is, like, impossible. Like, you're not going to actually do it. Sorry, I actually relate to Isai Yoda, actually. You're not going to get my personality, is the thing. So I kind of hate self-inserts. I think Secretary is okay, because Secretary, 40 minutes spent talking about the game, the rest about jizz in some form. You know what? And I'm fine with that. That's kind of the point of this whole talk show. But yeah, the game is good, but it like has to fundamentally change a lot of the characters, and it's also like obnoxiously hard. And I kind of don't like that it's obnoxiously hard. But anyway, yeah, we're done, I think, with Hyperdevotion Noire. I don't think I would recommend it. Do I give ratings? Oh well. There you go. I don't think I would recommend it. I would say play a real NEP game. Alright, next up, I watched Arcane. Like all of it. I watched both seasons of Arcane. It's fucking good. It's like a League of Legends show that takes place in like Piltover and Zwan or some shit. Shit. I might be too drunk to review this. It's good! Yay! Fuck, I feel bad. I think it's too drunk to... I don't know what to say about it is actually part of the problem. My girlfriend loves Arcane. I've not watched it though. I would recommend it. I actually genuinely would. It's pretty good. It's Arcane has a lot of like running plot lines in it. Holy shit, I did not know that they had Arcane. What are those? What are you using? Feels V. Is that like a Twitch? Is that a Twitch emote? Where the fuck did that even come from? Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that, mate? Yeah. It's hard to. It's. Oh, is it? Jinx lol. Okay. Maybe I guess it is a default one. I'm fucked up. We're at the fucked up phase of the stream. We're at the phase where I'm just straight up drunk. Ugh. Oh wow, they have like everyone. Yeah, Arcane's really interesting. It has a lot of ongoing plot threads in it. To the point where I guess I'm supposed to tell you what it's about, but I can't because I'm too drunk to tell anyone what anything is. Which I feel like is part of the fun of this, but also because there's like so many fucking plot threads, it is impossible to describe. It's like these two sisters, and then one of them goes crazy because she constantly fucks up, and then she fucked up one last time, and then she gets adopted by a crime lord, and then she goes crazy. Oh, and at the same guy, one guy invents Magitech, and that magic doesn't like being teched. I was initially put off by the League of Legends side, but everything I've heard, it's amazing. It's really good. It's like a solid 8 out of 10 series. And if anyone knows anything about me, an 8 out of 10 from the Sacrabalic, Your Envoy of Hope, is like a 10 out of 10 from a normal person. So take that how you will. But yeah, I would definitely give it an 8 out of 10. It is like really fucking good. It is like it was like surprisingly good. I don't remember why I watched it, but I did end up watching both seasons. Season 2, I know a lot of people don't like season 2 as much as season 1. I'm gonna throw this out there. I think season 2 is better than season 1. Season 1 is very slow paced, and there's a lot of like attention placed to the relationship of just like the sisters finding each other. Excuse me. It seems I must force my girlfriend to rewatch Myth Me. I probably wouldn't mind rewatching Arcane, honestly. It's pretty fucking good. But like a lot of people don't like season 2 as much, and I would have to say I actually prefer it because a lot of season 1 is just the sisters finding each other, and then there's only like minimal interactions, and those character interactions, that's my thing. I like seeing the characters conflict and then get together and change dynamically, and season 2 does that so much better. I will say that season 2 is very confusing when you get into the alternate timelines that almost feel vaguely unnecessary. I know they come into play at the ending, but Yeah, I would say season 2 does get confusing, I will say. I'm trying to be very not spoiler heavy, especially because Kato has said you haven't seen it. So I'm trying not to get into any more details, actually. I'm very much holding back on the individual aspects of this. But yeah, season 2 can be a bit confusing, but I like seeing the character interactions and the character dynamics change. Characters in season 1 are very much the same person all the way through, and it almost plays itself vaguely like a Greek tragedy where their hamartia is sort of their undoing. But in season 2, there's a lot more character arcs that we get to witness, where the characters at the end of the series are fundamentally different characters than they were at the beginning of the series. And I would say that character arcs are, as much as I love my Greek tragedies, I would say that seeing characters fundamentally alter who they were due to the circumstances they encounter as part of the plot is probably one of my more favorite things. So in that regard, I would say I'm actually more of an Arcane season 2 fan, even though I think a lot of aspects of it can get very hard to understand in an initial viewing. In episode 4, they make a fucking baffling decision to have one of the most important scenes play simultaneously with a fight scene that you've been waiting for like 3 episodes, and then they cut back and forth between the fight scene and the other even more important scene than the fight scene. And it just leads to a whole fucking array of confusion that I am not a fan of. If anything, I would say season 2 probably has worse direction, and I think the direction actually kind of holds season 2 back. But yeah, otherwise, I would highly recommend watching Arcane. If you haven't seen it and you have a capacity to, I would very much recommend it. I think it's very good. I think the characters are really what holds it together. They do have a lot of different usage of animation that I do appreciate. Like, there is a... No spoilers, because I'm not telling you who dies, but there is a funeral in season 1 where they got like a legitimate like charcoal artist to do the scene in charcoal, if you can believe that shit. Like, they used like fucking charcoal rubbings at one point. It's like fucking crazy. Like, they put in a lot of effort. If I recall, this actually cost the same amount as a AAA video game. And they make very good use of the budget. It's very good. And they are done with it, actually. There's only 2 seasons. They say that they are going to do more Arcane, like more League of Legends shows in other cities, but they are probably pretty much done with these cast of characters. I'm expecting cameos in future League of Legends based shows, but this actually gives me a lot of hope, and I would definitely watch them going forward. I'm trying to be pretty spoiler free. And I think that's about all I can talk to without like blowing something fundamental about the series. So I think we're pretty much done with Arcane for now. Hold on, I'm gonna take another sip. Okay, I watched American Psycho. I've always wanted to see American Psycho. It's not a sip. It's fine. Look, what's the worst that can happen? It's fine. Yeah, I watched American Psycho. This is starring a guy. Who's this starring? Christian Bale. The TikTok movie. This is a TikTok movie? I've never... This is real. I've like never seriously been on TikTok in my entire life. Oh look, the movie college guys watch, misunderstand, and base their entire personality over. So, okay, here's the thing. I understand that American Psycho is a critique of yuppies. What I have realized watching this movie is that if I lived in the 80s, I would be one of these dudes. Because there is a very famous scene where all of the characters are comparing their business cards, and the joke of the scene is that the business cards look exactly the same. And you're not really supposed to be able to tell the business cards apart, because the idea is they're obsessing over minor details about the business cards that don't matter. But the problem with that scene is that when I look at the business card scene, when I watched it, I was like, oh, I can not only tell the differences between these business cards, but I can tell which business cards are better business cards. Like, I can tell the business card, and the business card scene is where I realized, oh, I'm one of these guys. Never mind, I am one of them. I understand fully. I get what's happening here. But do you have the money to be one of these characters? I must replay Red Faction Gorilla. Not yet. We'll wait. Wait and see. Wait and see. Is what I will say about that. But yeah, no, like, I get the fucking business card thing. Obviously, this joke is clearly a critique of that exact personality type. And I'm gonna say something about American Psycho. When I watched this movie, the book is also incredibly violent. The movie's pretty violent too, actually. I will say that. I thought the movie, when I watched it, was fucking brilliant. I loved it. And then, because the whole movie, like, American Psycho, in a first viewing, to me, was like a combination of, like, Fight Club and Perfect Blue, but, like, set in the 1980s. And it was, like, so fucking good. Like, the movie starts off with Norman Bates talking about how he himself doesn't exist, basically describing himself as a sort of psychopath who puts on a face to conform with the others around him. And throughout the entire movie, there's this whole concept of characters being confused for each other because they're all basically trying to be carbon copies of each other. They're like CCs of each other. And whereas he himself thrives off of murder, where everyone is so self-involved and so, like, hyper-capitalist that they themselves are ignoring the apparent red flags that he is putting out, while simultaneously the movie blurs the line between what is real and what is not real, based on Norman's, like, reactions and his statements. Like, sometimes Norman will say something that he's actually doing, and sometimes it's just in his head. And this blurring of reality in this fiction and this, like, portrayal of, like, who is Norman Bates, who is not Norman Bates, what is happening, what is not happening, this sort of unreality of the whole movie came across as an absolute brilliant concept. As a critique, I'm not sure how good it is, to be honest. Because almost at points, it feels critical, and if you value individuality, but as far as, like, I don't know, like, the lifestyles they're leaving isn't terrible. Like, going to fancy restaurants and, like, meeting hot women, even if the hot women all look exactly the same, it's not necessarily bad. Like, I understand what the movie is getting at, but I don't think it serves its purpose very well. And I am very much getting to the point where I think what is wrong with American Psycho is I think the director sucked. The movie isn't bad, but frankly, I'll admit the amount of assholes that idealize Patrick Bateman has turned me off so hard. Have you seen American Psycho 2? Norman Bates is from Psycho, different movie. You are completely correct. I meant Patrick Bateman, but I think you can hear the two names back to back and get where I fucked up there. Yes, and it's awful. I have not seen American Psycho 2. The only reason I watched this is because it was leaving Netflix. If you look as an early 2000 parody film like Scary Movie, then it's almost funny. No, this movie is actually, like, legitimately hilarious. Oh, you meant American Psycho 2. This movie is actually legitimately funny. It's, like, categorized on Wikipedia as, like, a black comedy. I laughed at several points in this movie. I actually think this is, like, very charming. One thing about the book, I wonder if all the violence is actually happening or if it's all in Patrick's head. That is one thing you wonder in this movie. And what I will say is I think the fundamental flaw of American Psycho is the director is an idiot. Apparently American Psycho 2 was filmed and then it was changed at the end of filming to make it connect to the first. Okay. So, when I got to the end of American Psycho, there's a big scene. I'm going to spoil a little bit of American Psycho because I have to talk about this. Excuse me. Patrick Bateman is talking to his lawyer, who does not believe he is Patrick Bateman and believes the guy he met in Paris a week ago. And at one point, Patrick Bateman like killed a bunch of people, and he had an alibi because someone else was having a dinner with Patrick Bateman. And the entire movie, he's getting like confused with this like one dude with like an M name, like Michael or Magnus or some bullshit. And so when I got to the end of the movie, I was like, wow, what a fascinating open-ending ending, where it's not clear how much of the violence was in his head or how much of it was real. And more to the point, I am not sure. Like, I was thinking this movie was pulling a fucking Perfect Blue. I'm like, is this dude actually Patrick Bateman? Or is this like Michael, whatever the fuck his name is? Is this a fucking Eminem guy? And he just thinks he's Patrick Bateman because he's gone so fucking insane that he can't even tell who he is anymore? American Psycho, Scarface, Fight Club, 3 movies that are very loudly telling you their characters are awful, horrible people that shouldn't idolize, largely idolized by idiots. Yes. You're correct. I don't think you're meant to idolize Patrick Bateman in any way. Like, the movie's, I would almost argue, hypercritical of the yuppie lifestyle, in fact. The movie is made like a really hardcore feminist, and it is very critical of like masculinity in general. It is very critical of what it is portraying. The movie is. I used to be super terrified of Scarface poster when I was younger. I've never actually seen Scarface. I have seen Fight Club. I do not like it. I would rather watch American Psycho again than watch Fight Club again. I wonder how many people watch these 3 movies and walk away like, yep, that's one I would be. Oh my god, so many. So many. Well, okay. Remind me before we finish talking about American Psycho. Talk about this coworker I had, who had very strong opinions about Starship Troopers, who completely misunderstood the concept of Starship Troopers. In fact, actually, someone, could you do me a favor? Just type a chat comment that just says Starship Troopers, and then I'll remember to talk about it that way. Scarface especially fucking ruins his whole life. Fight Club is insufferably manly because of families. Yeah, I don't like Fight Club. I really genuinely do not enjoy Fight Club as a film. Like, fundamentally. American Psycho, I thought was delightful. The author of Fight Club hates Fight Club. I hated it when I watched it as a kid. I hated it when I watched it as a teenager. And I have recently seen it like 2 or 3 years ago. And I was like, wow, I'm still not a fucking fan. I just cannot like Fight Club. It's like, because Fight Club, I mean, like, clearly the point about Fight Club is the like, rebellion against the system, and the hypermasculinity is not necessarily a good thing. But the thing about it is the movie itself almost glorifies it. And I can understand why people latch on to the movie in that regard, even if they are missing the point, because of the way the movie portrays it. But that glorification that the movie portrays, even when fundamentally missing the aspect, is also a fundamental aspect of the movie that I find unpleasant to watch. The movie specifically, he likes his book, that's why the author hates it. Oh, the fact that the movie almost glorifies it. Yeah, it's I don't know. Fight Club feels gross. It's one of those movies that feels slime coated. I don't get that from American Psycho. Because Fight Club, assuming Fight Club is supposed to have a similar message to American Psycho, Fight Club feels to me like the author, like the director misunderstood the book Fight Club. You feel similarly about First Blood. The original Rambo movie, I think I've seen it once. I couldn't really tell you much about it. Anyway, yeah, the ambiguity about whether Patrick Bateman is in fact the actual Patrick Bateman, and whether any of the violence and any of the murders actually occurred, or whether they are being covered up due to the incompetence and like self servingness of everyone around him makes American Psycho a fascinating movie, which is apparently constructed especially because the director was evidently absolutely goddamn incompetent. Because after I watched the movie, I came away thinking this was like a Perfect Blue situation where I'm like, wait, is this motherfucker Patrick Bateman? And then I look it up, and apparently the director has weighed in on what happened during the American Psycho filming, and she has admitted that she completely fucked up the ending. It's about a guy who comes back from war who doesn't know how to even live, goes on a rampage fighting the police, and in the end commits suicide. That's the plot of the book. Yeah, I could see how the movie changes that aspect. From what I remember about First Blood, it follows the vibe of it basically well, because isn't the whole point of the movie that he's having a huge war flashback? I might be misremembering. But anyway, yeah, so I'm about to ruin American Psycho, because apparently the director ruined American Psycho. Oddly enough, the ending of American Psycho is one of the biggest modern talking points about the film. Okay, well, great, because I'm about to ruin it. Because I think the ending of American Psycho is fucking brilliant until you find out that the fucking director just will tell you what happens. I also enjoyed the openness. I loved it. I loved it. It's very, like, Inception-like. But anyway, yeah, so here's what the director says. The director said that she fucked up, and she didn't mean to imply that, one, Patrick Bateman wasn't Patrick Bateman, and two, she didn't mean to imply that none of the violence had ever happened. Like, the ending of American Psycho and the brilliance of the movie, the ambiguity of it, is created because the director was too incompetent to actually properly portray on ambiguity. She wanted to make it clear that this guy was Patrick Bateman, and that all of the killings had happened, except for the minor hallucination point at the end of the movie as he was reaching his breaking point, and that all of this was being caused by the self obsession that everyone has with themselves, and the leanings towards the like hyper-capitalist society portrayed in American Psycho. But she was so fucking bad at her job, she missed and created a masterpiece. I also like the accidentally added a lot more nuance. Yeah, exactly. She fucked up and made a masterpiece. And I don't know about you, but if I was attempting to make a worse movie and I fucked up and made a masterpiece, personally, I'd shut the fuck up. I would take that shit to the grave. I would never tell anyone. I'd be like, oh, who knows? Oh, maybe he isn't Patrick Bateman. Maybe he is. Maybe he killed them. Maybe he didn't. Who fucking knows? I would never admit I did it out of pure incompetence. This woman made a masterpiece out of incompetence. And after reading this and, like, learning that, like, no, the director just fucked up, and all of the good, literally, every good thing about this movie was basically created because the director was bad at her fucking job, has almost ruined the movie for me retroactively. I'm like, what do you mean she was just really bad at directing? What the fuck? When interviewed about Rambo series, when the author of First Blood basically said, don't ask me about that crap. That's happened a few times, really. Have you ever heard of the original cut of New Hope? It was fucking awful. I have heard Mark Hamill complain about the original cut of New Hope. Yeah, it's one of those instances where the director was just so fucking bad at their job, they failed upward. And I actually find that kind of disappointing, which is also why, like, even George Lucas will tell you New Hope was fixed in editing. Yeah, I have heard that. I've definitely heard that. Yeah, it's really, it's like almost ruined the movie. I'm very disappointed to learn that the director's just bad at directing. Apparently the original ending was, he was like it was like, it turns into a musical segment where he's on the, like, Empire State Building. Which sounds super dumb. Honestly, like, the original ending is really fucking stupid. So yeah, American Psycho is a movie that is brilliant and is definitely a masterpiece, and I agree with everyone who says that, as long as you ignore everything the director ever said about how she was just bad at making movies. Now, she never claimed she was bad at making movies, but I think if your intent is to create a critique of a lifestyle and was to make an unambiguous serial killer movie, and you accidentally made a movie where it isn't clear if the serial killer is a serial killer or even the person the serial killer thinks they are, I think you fucked up. I don't think there's any way to say that if you fuck up the ending that, like, people will say that, like, because I think there's a lot of good scenes in American Psycho that were done intentionally, but I think if you botch an ending as hard as this woman botched the ending of American Psycho, I cannot call her a good director. I don't think you can fuck up as hard as this and be a good director. The movie starts with massive block of exposition text in the history of the Jedi, the Empire, the Knights of the Sith, the Rebellion, and the studio's like, hey, can we slow this down a bit? Patrick Bateman is one of my top 5 movie serial killers. I get that. I like Bateman, kind of, sort of, maybe? I think he's a very interesting character, but yeah, the fact that the director was like failed to make a worse movie sort of sours my taste about it, if I'm being honest. So I'm sorry if I've ruined American Psycho for you, but yeah, the director's just bad. It had a bad director that failed upward. Okay, I think I'm done with American Psycho. What the fuck did I do after American Psycho? You haven't. Dude Bros did that a long time ago. Nice. American Psycho came out in like 2001, so there has been plenty of time for people to ruin American Psycho. We'll say that Christian Bale made the movie, though. He was very good in it. I'm not a big Christian Bale fan, but he killed it. I'll admit that. All right, Eminem Relapse Refill. This is, I would almost, from my Bateman grind set right now, something I overheard once. I identify with Patrick Bateman a little more than I probably should, but enough to realize that I'm not supposed to identify with Patrick Bateman. I agree with you. I think his Batman voice is terrible. I think he's a terrible Batman. Those are everyone's favorite Batman's movies, and I hate basically all of them. I think the first one's okay. I liked the first one. Controversially. I don't like Heath Ledger as Batman. I know a lot of people like Heath Ledger as Batman, and I will say that a lot of people like Heath Ledger as Batman because he fucking died immediately after it, and I heavily think he's getting the death bonus. Because whenever someone dies in the creation of art, they end up getting more highly regarded than if they weren't, and I'm willing to say that I think a lot of the Heath Ledger appreciation for his fucking Joker is that he died, but I'm gonna say this. If we compare him to like other previous Jokers, he's kind of a shitty Joker, and I don't like him, and I don't like the movie, and I don't like the sequel movie, and that one, the last one's not controversial. Heath Ledger was the Joker, you drunk fuck. No, I know, I'm saying I don't think Heath Ledger made a good Joker. I don't think Christian Bale made that great of a Batman either, but I don't, like, controversially, I don't think Heath Ledger makes a good Joker. I don't like him as the Joker. I did not like the Joker in those movies. I thought the Joker sucked. Let me get the spray bottle for the part of that statement said Heath Ledger. You said he played Batman like 3 times. Oh, I meant he played Joker. I thought it was pretty clear I don't like him as Joker. Yeah, no, sorry. Christian Bale played Batman, and he... I don't know. He's a nothing Batman, honestly. I'm not a big Batman fan in the first place, but I really do not like Heath Ledger as Joker. I really don't like that character. I think that character is obnoxious as fuck. The best part of that entire movie, to me, is where you have the 2 people on the cruise ships, and they have to vote to blow up the other cruise ship, and the, non-convicts are like, we've got to blow up the convict ship. They made their choice. And then the convicts are like, we can't blow up the innocent people. Are you fucking crazy? And I think that's literally the best part of the movie, where you see the convicts acting with more humanity than the non-criminals. And I think that's a legitimately good part of the movie. But otherwise, I actually legitimately, and I hate to say this because like everyone gives this like boost to Heath Ledger for dying, but like I legitimately don't even like his Joker. I find that character legitimately obnoxious as shit. Heath Ledger's body language is the best part of his Joker, but the problem with most non-animated Batman movies is they aren't Batman movies, they're whoever the villain is movie. Christian Bale in Thor Love and Thunder was awesome. I have not seen that movie. I believe he plays Gore the God Butcher, though, who's a pretty cool comic book character, with like major impacts on the Thor lore. Every scene he was in felt like a different movie. Haven't seen it. I dropped off of the MCU after No Way Home. I've watched a little bit of WandaVision. I watched like half of WandaVision, but even then I like dropped off. I don't care after Endgame is the problem. Like I legitimately do not give a shit. Excuse me. I liked Heath Ledger more in Brokeback Mountain. I've told the Brokeback Mountain story before. Hiccuping. I've told the Brokeback Mountain story before, right? Where I was like in elementary school, and I was talking to Mama Sack, and I'm like, Brokeback Mountain is a movie about gay cowboys. And she would not believe this. She absolutely refused to believe that it was about gay cowboys. And I'm like, this movie is about gay cowboys. And when I was in elementary school, she was like, okay, we're going to go watch Brokeback Mountain. So she took me to Brokeback Mountain. I was there with like my stepfather. We were watching Brokeback Mountain, and they were all on the mountains. And the whole time I was like, "This movie's about gay cowboys," and she's like, "It's not about gay cowboys." And then the scene happens where the guys are in the tent, and then the other guy like pushes the other guy over, and he flips him over, and then he undoes his pants, and he starts fucking him in the ass. And I look over at her, and I'm like, with the biggest smile on my face, I'm like, "I told you it was about gay cowboys." She didn't think cowboys could be gay. She definitely probably thought cowboys could be gay, but I don't think she thought the movie itself was about gay cowboys. And I was so happy that it was about gay cowboys. I was in 5th grade, I think, when that movie came out. I was like, I fucking told you it was about gay cowboys. I've never been more happy to see a guy fuck another guy in the ass than in Brokeback Mountain. Because I'm a little shit who loves being right. Oh my god, thank you for reminding me about Starship Troopers. Holy shit, I almost forgot. I'm out of this vodka. All the stuff in this vodka bottle's out. And then also I drank all the Midori, I think. I'm fucked up. Starship Troopers. Right, I had a coworker who made an argument that like he liked the government system of Starship Troopers and thought that in order to have the right to vote, you should have to serve in the military in a war like in Starship Troopers. And I was like, dog, you realize that Starship Troopers is a critique of hyper-militarization, right? Like, the point of Starship Troopers is that you're not supposed to identify with the world of Starship Troopers. You're supposed to be like, this amount of militarization is stupid. Society should not be wrapped around the military. In the movie. The book is the exact opposite. But the concept of the movie is the military industrial complex operating at that level is an inherently bad thing. And he's like, yes, not only do I understand that that's what the movie's saying, but I disagree with it, and I want the society that Starship Troopers portrays. And I don't know what to say to that. What do you say to someone who's like, not only do I understand the critique, but I disagree with it to such a fundamental point that I want to live in the parody world? What? What do you say to someone who says that? Amazing way to kill half your educated population and keep them in control. Like, if someone says that to, like, what if someone says, not only do I understand that American Psycho portrays a fundamental issue with capitalism and self-obsessiveness and aspects of toxic masculinity, not only do I understand that critique, but I fully agree that that critique is a good thing, and I want society to be more like American Psycho. More people should stab random homeless men in the street. I think that is a fundamentally a beneficial part of society. And I'm like, what do you say to that? What do you say to someone who understood the movie and disagrees with it completely? Which is some coworker decipher from the Matrix. The weirdest part is, like, he was actually, like, a really cool dude. It was just, like, it was, like, so out of pocket. Like, otherwise, he was completely normal, and he was, like, one of my favorite coworkers, but, like, I heard that, I'm like, I don't know how to respond to that! That is insane! That is crazy person talk! Oh my god, it's fucking wild! Oh, shit. Anyway. Oh... That's raw as hell. Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah. I like that. I don't know. I never asked, actually. You bring up a good point. I could see an argument either way. It's like, what's your opinion on Fight Club? Holy shit. Yeah, no, fucking crazy. Anyway, yeah. I, on the other hand, think that the future Starship Troopers portrays is fucking horrible. Reminds me of the time I was talking to a coworker who seems like a nice old lady, and then she told me about how celebrities inject children's blood to stay young, and I was like, what the fuck did you just say to me? Oh, yeah, what's that called? I've heard about that. I heard about that from a boss. I heard that about, before my current job, my other boss told me about this. What is it called? It has the, like, craziest name. Children blood injections. It's a QAnon thing. Injection. QAnon. Hold on. It's a Adrenochrome. It's called Adrenochrome. It's called Adrenochrome. Yeah, they believe there's, like, a cabal, like an Illuminati-esque cabal that, like, murders and rapes children and then injects their blood to, like, stay eternally youthful. Which, I think if this cabal existed, Joe Biden would not have the most scrambled fucking brain that a president has had since John Quincy Adams. Isn't there that one old multimillionaire? There is a guy, yeah. Is it Brian Johnson? Yeah, the Patriots. Yeah, it doesn't work is the problem. Like, believe it or not, like, you could reverse aging on a person, but you would need, like, theoretically, moderately futuristic CRISPR technology. Like, theoretically, I would not be shocked if in all of our lifetimes right now, everyone in chat right now, I would not be surprised if anti-aging technology to the degree that they want genuinely comes into existence. Like, but the thing is, it's not quite there yet. It's just, like, on the precipice of being created. It's, like, closer than you might think it is. But it is worth noting that it is not in any way related to injecting children's blood, and that will not make you younger. So don't inject children's blood. LAC does all the experience of itself. Brand Johnson uses a 17-year-old son's plasma. Yeah, that won't do anything. That won't do anything, though, is the problem. It'll give you HIV, most likely. It'll only give you HIV if the kid has HIV, I think. But anyway, what did I do? Oh yeah, I listened to Relapse Refill. Relapse Refill is almost not an actual sequel to the Eminem Relapse album. It's almost like a DLC to it, because it's a lot shorter than a normal Eminem album. Brian Johnson's like 45, 46. A lot of doctors say he is the physical outward age of like 27. Yeah, he also works out and does, like, a lot of healthcare routines. I really don't think it's the blood injections that are keeping him young. That's the only illness I know you can get from blood. Oh, there's a lot of bloodborne pathogens, honestly. But HIV is the big one. Hold on. Let's look up bloodborne pathogens. Fuck it. I don't know. Malaria? Malaria is one of them for sure. Hepatitis. You can get hepatitis. He looks like a Ken doll that melted. HIV and AIDS, hepatitis. Those seem to be the big ones there, HIV and hepatitis. But I don't know if you can get them. But I think in order to get hepatitis, you need someone who has hepatitis. I think as long as your bloodline is clear, you can't get it. The worst thing you might have is you might develop a prion like the Kuru. You're not going to develop specifically the Kuru, but you could develop, I would be worried about getting a prion, is what I would be worried about, like, willfully taking unnecessary blood injections. Because I think prions could be a legitimate issue, but I don't think if someone's blood is clean, you're not likely to get, like, a disease, I don't think. But I'm not a doctor, and I can't legally give you child blood injection advice. So take that what you will, I guess. He takes a lot of specially formulated youth drugs and does crazy therapies. He doesn't work out a lot as well. I will say this about him. I think the amount of stress he has about taking anti-aging stuff is probably aging him faster than he needs to. But yeah, his healthcare routine is crazy. And I think that's probably doing a lot more for him than his fucking blood injections. Like, I don't think the blood injections do anything. Anyway, Relapse Refill is almost like an Eminem DLC. Where it's like half an album compared to Eminem's usual length. And like Relapse, this sort of like horrorcore vibe that it has, but the fact that it's completely not serious and he's joking about it, I think really adds to the vibe. And I think that the accents he used, I know a lot of people hated this when it came out, but I think it flows really well with the production of the individual tracks. So again, like Relapse, this is actually like my favorite Eminem album. It's like the fact that Eminem isn't taking it seriously is, if anything, better than when Eminem raps around like shit and his like ex or whatever. Because like Eminem has like 3 topics, and the fact that like he goes from like I'm gonna kill my ex to I'm gonna go in a closet and I'm gonna stab you and I'm gonna wear your face like a mask and I'm gonna dance around at midnight. And I'm not rapping, but fuck you. You get what I'm saying. Like the fact that there's a sort of like joviality and a jokiness to it, I think really adds to Relapse. As someone who has been very disappointed with Eminem's discography as I'm going through this listen through all of his albums, I really, crazily enough, think the Relapse and Relapse Refill albums are his best albums. Like, because he's so much less serious, and serious Eminem, if anything, kind of sucks unless he's like super hyper serious, like on like Mockingbird or something. Like, if Eminem is only slightly serious, he's fucking terrible. Usually we call that an EP. The thing is, it's like album length, but it should be, like, I could definitely see an EP. He takes a lot of what he's probably doing works, but I'm pretty sure the annual cost is like $2 million. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. Well, also, it's worth noting that there is some debate about taking supplements, and the man like eats 42 pills a day. So honestly, just working out regularly is enough to get the youthful effect. I really do think he like overkills it. I think he has pretty solid skincare routine also. So I think there's some things he does that work, but I also think that there's a lot of things that he's doing that's just unnecessary bullshit because he's just so terrified of death. Which I get. So anyway, yeah, Relapse Refill, like the silly parody elements of the horrorcore, I think really work for this album. And I really need to get fucking scared. You and me both. I have retinol cream that I remember to apply once every... Actually, I remember to apply it all the time, but I'm just so fucking lazy. Because whenever I sleep, I actually use blinds. I blind myself. Because it helps me filter out the light. Because... I don't know. Shut up. Fuck off. I use blindfolds. Anyway... Excuse me, my retinol cream is very creamy, and it, like, gets on shit, and I get a little worried about that. One of my biggest benefits of a girlfriend is never having to spend money on a skincare routine. You're too young for retinol. Don't use retinol until you're 25. Actually, you're both too None of y'all, no one in chat should be using retinol. Neglected it because I was a teenager and had horrible acne and made me empathetic to even try and let's clean up aside from some scars as an adult. You should look into some sort of like moisturizer for sure. Just to try and maybe like if you're still getting acne problems, look into some sort of like anti-acne medication. If you have like a regular doctor you can talk to, definitely defer to them, especially if you have a dermatologist. But it's not bad to integrate like moisturizers and skin clearers into your skincare routine in your youth, but like super heavy anti-aging skincare is not something you're going to need right now. I don't use, in fact, very specifically, do not use retinol if you are under the age of 25, because it will actually age you quicker, because it will cause sun damage to your skin, and you are not in that zone. So do actually, not only do you not need it, don't use it, is what I'm telling you. You will sometimes get retinol prescriptions at your ages if you're having very heavy acne issues, and then it's being prescribed for the acne. But even then, you need to be careful because of the sun damage, because retinol causes hypersensitivity to sunlight. So watch out for that, I guess. How does it feel, Zach, that I was 15 when I started watching you, and I'm now 23? I don't like to think about it, mate. I don't like to think about it. I also became an adult through watching Zach. I don't like to think about these things. How about that? You ever think I try not to think about it? Oh, shit. You know what? I appreciate your presence. I will say that for sure, though. Jesus Christ, Kaido, are you actually an adult now? Because that might make me more old. Oh my god, I might need to sit down after that one. If that's true, holy shit. Anyway, yeah, Relapse Refill, research Korean stuff, I promise. Relapse Refill is actually a solidly good album, and I did enjoy it. Yes, I am. Oh god. Oh god. Oh my god. Oh god. How do you think I feel knowing you got to see me as a shitty teenager? Oh boy. Okay, well, oh shit. Anyway, yeah, Relapse Refill, pretty good. Listen to it. I think it's good because Eminem doesn't take himself too seriously. There we go. That's my deal. Oh, and he stops talking about his fucking ex, mostly. I think he might have a line in this one about not talking about his ex too much. Past 3 streams were at the end of this one. This one was early. Yeah. God, sex old. Oh god, don't fucking remind me. About to make me relapse. Okay, Recovery. The Eminem album Recovery. Recovery has probably my favorite Eminem sack. Recovery is my favorite Eminem song, and Not Afraid, and there's a lot of good singles. Time to grow a porno mustache. I might be able to. But I hate body hair, which is why I try and shave it all off. The maid is more experiencing, more self-loathing about younger me. We all do it. It's a normal thing. Time to insult sex age. But yeah, so Recovery's got a lot of good singles, which is like Love the Way You Lie and like Not Afraid and all that. The only person I hate more than me is younger me. You know what? Fucking, I understand fully. No, like, I think there's genuinely a lot of people that would like be like, hey, younger me, knock that shit the fuck off. Younger me really went outside. I need to stress that. I barely go outside now. If anything, I think I go outside less now than I used to. And I'm okay with that. So I think realistically, I have also chilled out as a person, and I kind of like where I'm at now. You should grow / shave an arrow on your chest of hair pointing towards the downstairs. I am not hairy enough to do that, actually, and I'm proud of that. Because it would be inconvenient if I was. But yeah, Recovery's got a lot of good singles, but this is actually, I'm disappointed with this album because it's one of those albums where you've heard all of the good songs off of it already. The only exception I would say, Glue Salon here. Oh my god, no. I hate stickiness. The only exception I would say to Recovery is there is a song at the end called Unentitled, which is pretty fucking good. But otherwise, this Recovery is sort of like an end of the character arc for Eminem, where he talks about his like drug addiction, and he has a very impactful song in one of them where he talks about how he still kind of loves Kim. And how it just sort of didn't work out. And it's very, like, reflective, and I can appreciate that aspect of it, but, like, the production on these songs is just so fucking boring, and, like, this is one of those albums where you run into the issue, where because it's, like, 76 minutes, where it's one of those albums where, like, a bunch of songs could have gotten cut out, and I think it would have been a better album. I hate stickiness. Hope you don't live somewhere where it's hot 24/7. You know I do. I used to be a lot more reserved. Honestly, I've probably gotten worse since I started watching Jack streams. You're coming out of your shell. It's not a bad thing. But yeah, so we get to see a lot more of a reflexive Eminem on this album. A lot more like he's sort of like making peace with his previous actions, but then on the other hand, he'll be like, yeah, I've said some fucked up shit in the past, and I used to do a lot of sleeping pills, and I don't actually hate my ex. And then on the next song, he's like, I'm a gangbanger. I'll shoot you and I'll kill you and I'll fuck your bitch. And it's like he can't commit to the bit, right? It's too long, and he can't commit to actually being in recovery, which might be part of the point. But I'm gonna be honest, this is like what, the 7th Eminem album at this point. I actually think Eminem creating an in-depth enough album that he is intentionally relapsing on his own recovery album is like giving him too much credit. I think he's too shitty of an album artist. Hold on, we're finding out. Less shell, more sax, drunken antics influence. I'm not that drunk. What number album was A Recovery? This was his 7th album, yeah. So with this being Eminem's 7th album, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he's a competent enough album artist to successfully create an album where he is relapsing on his own recovery album. Like, I think that would be very good, but Eminem is clearly a singles artist. I will lock in on the fact that as far as rhyming goes, I think Eminem is the best rhymer as far as any rap artist I have ever seen. I think he is the most versatile. I will stick with that. I think he can switch styles better than anyone else. I think he can rhyme lyrics together better than anyone else. But as far as his actual lyrical choice about his subject matter, about his album craft, I think he is woefully overvalued and woefully underskilled at it. His albums tend to be long, unnecessary, meandering, not well put together, not well on theme. He defaults back to the same topics. His singles hit so hard, and he got where he was because he's so good at being a singles artist. And he's very much like Tupac on that regard, where his singles are phenomenal, but then when you listen to the albums the singles are in, they're just surrounded by mediocrity and crap. And like, The more I go through Eminem's albums as an album artist, the more I'm becoming disappointed with Eminem and disillusioned with him. Because, like, as a singles artist, he is probably the greatest singles artist rapper of all time. But as an albums artist, he kind of sucks. He kind of sucks, is kind of the weird part about it. Track 1, I'm not a gangbanger. I don't slap hoes. I don't hate my ex. That was a lie. Track 2, fuck you, bitch. I'm a gangbanger. I'll beat you like my ex. I remember Super Sack. Makes sense. Eminem got famous from MTV, not so much from his albums. I miss Prime MTV. I also miss Prime MTV, actually. MTV was pretty banger back in my day when I was a youngin'. No, it's like, you're not super wrong, though. The first 3 tracks are the most generic, like, Eminem songs you've ever heard. Like, I'll kill you, I'm a fuck your bitch, I'm super cool. And then, like, song 4 is, like, super introspective. The album is like every other Eminem album, basically, where, like, the beginning is kind of weak, and then there's this, like, halfway decent period. Actually, most Eminem albums start strong, end strong, and have a shitty middle. This one starts shitty, has a decent middle-ish area, sucks in the remainder of the middle, and then ends strong. The ending is strong. Don't get me wrong, because it goes from, like, Love the Way You Lie to, like, Unentitled or something like that with, like, only a brief stop. The album ends well, but it's one of those issues where Eminem just can't shut the fuck up. And there's songs in this album that don't need to be, that don't add anything. If this album had 5 less songs, it has, like, 17 songs. If this album was, like, 12 songs, it would be a fucking banger. Eminem is so clearly Tupac inspired that he falls into the same fucking pitfalls as Tupac, where he doesn't know when to stop fucking talking. Fun fact about me, I watched Video Killed the Radio Star play for the first time in the 1970s. Good bun, fried boot in the middle. Yes, you fucking nailed Eminem's problem with basically all of his albums except for the Relapse albums. He's very good. Like, the thing is, you can't say that Eminem sucks because he is a master of his craft, but he doesn't have a lot to say. Is the problem. He never realized, like, Eminem is so desperately in need of a fucking editor. I think it was 69 or something like that. 1980s? I think it was earlier than that. I'm going to say 79. Video Killed the Radio Star by the Bungles was 1979. Checkmate. That song fucking slaps, by the way. If you haven't heard it recently, I listen to that song pretty frequently. It's like a weirdly good song. Yeah, Recovery. It's I don't know. It's an Eminem album. It's not much different. Do I think it's better than the Marshall Mathers LP, which everyone loves, but I hate because I think it's just super fucking lame with the horrorcore elements? I do. I do think it's better than his earlier albums, but, like, I think his earlier albums kind of suck, so I don't think it really... it's not Relapse. Like, he really is on his best when he's not trying to be a real rapper. I heard it last in the Rockstar logo for Vice City. I've played Vice City. I don't like Vice City. The only GTA game I have ever liked is San Andreas. And I do really like San Andreas. I think it's on the queue, isn't it? Where is it? Where are we going with the queue? Oh yeah, after Kingdom Hearts, we're going with KOTOR 2, Raidu Kuzunoha, Assassin's Creed 2, Three Houses, Darkness, Saints Row, Infinite on Discovery, Darkness 2, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, Saints Row 2, Oblivion, Assassin's Creed Rev, Saints Row 3, Minecraft, Assassin's Creed 3, Saints Row 4, Pokemon Sun, Sunrider. I'm gonna get banned off Twitch on Sunrider. Sunrider is the last fucking game you are ever gonna see me stream. Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, Shin Megami Tensei, Strange Journey Redux, Sunrider Liberation, Akiba Strip Hellbound Debriefed, which I have not played, Record of Argarist War, Sunrider 4, Akiba Strip Undead Undressed, and then Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, followed by Bravely Default. I played 15 minutes of GTA 4, and then I stopped playing GTA 4. YouTube. For sure. For sure, YouTube. Although, don't forget that I did promise that if I ever get banned off of both YouTube and Twitch, and I am forced to go to Kick, I will stream an uncensored Song of Saya. I have promised that, and I will stick to it. I might go worse. I might go like Maggot Bites. Is that too much? That's too much. I shouldn't do Maggot Bites. I should not do Maggot Bites. No one would watch that. I'm the only one who would be able to tolerate that, I think. That's too much. I might need to tone it back. Maybe Euphoria? The Ballad of Gay Tony DLC is one of the greatest DLCs of all time. Driving controls enough is to make me for. Yeah, that's too much because Song of Saya is as far as I'm willing to go. So not Euphoria is what we're saying. What we're saying is Euphoria is a little too far. Okay. Euphoria is also too much. All right. That game made me puke. I don't want to know what Maggot Bites would do in that case. So Maggot Bites is famously worse than Euphoria. Anyway, yeah, if we ever get forced to go to Kick, which we probably won't, because I'm going to be honest, I don't think I'm going to get banned off Twitch. I joke all the time. I don't think it would actually happen. Because someone would have to, like, report me. And I don't see it happening, genuinely. The thing about, I'll say this now, because it hasn't happened, so I'm not violating, no, I'm a spam report. Because it hasn't happened, so I'm not reportable yet. That shit scene and making them eat cum on food, that's what made me puke. Is that the thing about Sunrider is there a fundamental scene that like fundamentally alters the character so much that I've seen people specifically say they had to go back and replay the game and change what ending they got because of the scene occurs in a sex scene that occurs in the uncensored patch of the game. So tell me how weak I am. I know what you're thinking. It's fine. I'm not a big poop fan. I will say that. Not like off-put by Gokun, but poop isn't my deal. I've told the anal story before. I'm not gonna tell it again. It got everywhere. Y'all know the deal. The shit scene wasn't that bad. Come on food though is actually vile. Really? Okay. You're the reverse of my opinion, is what I'm getting. What was I gonna say? I don't know. I'm too drunk to remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah. There is a scene added by the uncensored patch that is so like fundamentally important to the story that I have seen people legitimately say they've changed their entire playthroughs based on it. A little brand on the tip never hurt anybody. Hurt my fucking bed. Anyway. If I want a hentai, I want something funny like the Blue Girl or something actually sensual. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, so you need to play the uncensored version of Sunrider, and so technically, if the game is not rated AO, because AO games are explicitly banned by Twitch. You are allowed to play them on stream. And if the focus of the stream is not the sex scene or the nudity, you're allowed to play a game on stream. Like, you're allowed to play a game on stream as long as you don't draw attention to it, it does not become the focus of the stream, and you move through it as quickly as possible. So for the Sunrider playthrough, no one is allowed to comment on the nudity or the sex scene, as far as in the context of it being nudity or sex scene. That is going to be a chat rule in Sunrider. And as long as, and it has not been, I don't believe, rated by the ESRB, so it is a cleared game that we are legally allowed to play as far as Twitch rules go, with an asterisk. It's a tier of funny, boring, and disgusting. Just get to the first hentai game on streams, new and trending. So no F, a fairy tale of two. What the fuck? I've never even heard of that. You've got me on that one, Made. What the fuck is this? Does this have an EO rating? What is this? Didn't they make an anime of this? I think I've vaguely heard of this. Anyway, yeah, if it has an AO rating or an equivalent, you're not allowed to play it, I believe. According to Twitch. Depressing visual novel. Yeah, I guess you're not allowed to play it then. If it has an AO rating, you're explicitly not allowed to play it. If it's explicitly listed as a game you're not allowed to play, you're not allowed to play it. Which it isn't any of these. And you're not allowed to make nudity a focus of the game or your stream. Oh, is it an ESRB rating? Oh, AO. Then yeah, no, you can't play it. It's specifically part of the guidelines. So theoretically, it should be clear, except for there was a... I don't know when this update was, but there was an update to the guidelines that says you're not allowed to play uncensored patches. You cannot specifically patch an uncensored version of the game. But you need to... in order to fundamentally understand the characters in Sunrider, you need the uncensored patch. So I will be straight up disregarding the guidelines. So if we get banned off Twitch, we get banned off Twitch. Twitch is a shitty platform for discovery anyway. There is no Twitch algorithm. You've just got to hope people pop into your chat randomly because they just happen to vibe with whatever random bullshit you're doing. So honestly, I'm at a point where I don't care if I get banned off Twitch. But if we get banned off Twitch, it will be because I used an uncensored patch in Sunrider. Yes, that means you cannot play Manhunt 2. That is correct. Yeah, any game with an AO rating, any game with an uncensored patch, that has the patch in it, uncensored, obviously. Any game that they specifically banned by name, those are like the 3 criteria. You also can't play Hatred, by the way, because Hatred got an AO rating. I mean, I don't know what to... Hatred's also pretty... Hatred, I would almost say, from what I've seen, is tamer than Manhunt. But you can't play it either. So, it's not my rules. You also can't play Yandere Simulator, which is another one that's like one of the specifically banned named games. But you can play Postal? Correct, you can play Postal. Postal's clear. But Hatred and Manhunt 2 and Yandere Simulator, that's too far. Postal and Hatred are basically the same game. Yeah, no, I know. I didn't make the fucking rules. This is why I actually kind of hate Twitch's, like, rules. Twitch's rules are, like, super fucking crazy. Like, on YouTube, because I've had to delete, like, sexual comments from y'all before, and on YouTube I wouldn't have to do this. Like, YouTube would not make me delete some of your comments sometimes, or some of the things you post, because YouTube wouldn't care, because YouTube's a lot more laissez-faire. But like, Twitch has the weirdest, most strict guidelines, like, randomly, and I fucking hate it. Like, I kind of hate Twitch's vibe, to be honest. But anyway, moving on, what else did I do? I listened to the remainder of The Adventure Zone Dust Season 2, featuring Erika Ishii. Excuse me. I'm not the biggest Erika Ishii fan. I think they... I don't know. They're not terrible. I don't dislike them. I don't have like this fervent hatred that some people seem to do, but I really feel like they don't add much to this as far as a guest star goes, and they're the first Adventure Zone guest star as far as like a mainline campaign goes. Also, I don't think Dust is a very good campaign setting. I don't like that Griffin reprises the Mothman. The idea is that he's basically brought into the Dust world, and I kind of don't like that angle for it because I like to keep characters in their own separate settings. The best part about this is that Justin's character, who played like the cashew ghost, possessed a train at one point, and that was pretty sick. But otherwise, I thought Dust was a pretty weak campaign. As I thought the first season was. I think it's very forgettable. I really don't have a lot to talk about Dust. It's definitely a sort of skip it kind of campaign for sure. So, moving on. All right, we got the Adventure Zone Steeplechase. This is the Justin's first... Dustin? Oh, Jesus Christ, I am drunk. This is Justin's first time DMing, where they're all in a world which is basically a big old theme park, and they commit crimes because they're playing the Blades in the Dark system, which I've never played before, which has got some mechanics that I'm going to steal for my Besom game. But anyway, yeah. This sort of runs into the same issue that a lot of Adventure Zone games run into, which is that the campaigns are just too fucking short. So right when you're starting to get into the characters and starting to appreciate them, I think this lasts like 40 episodes. It's just like not long enough to ingratiate. And keep in mind that these aren't like, because a lot of actual plays are like 2 or 3 hours. Like Critical Role can go to 4 to 5 to sometimes even 6 hours in extreme cases. And like an Adventure Zone episode is like an hour, if even, usually like running into 50 minutes, with part of that being an ad break in the middle. So running like 40-minute episodes across 40 episodes, they just end up being too short, and like it always feels like right when you're getting into the characters is when they end. But Steeplechase is pretty good. Justin does a good job. He has a lot of rookie DM mistakes, I would say. He can be a very railroady, and he does feel like he, in some occasions, berates the players, at least in character, for choices that he was in control of and they didn't really have a solution to the problem. And when the full control is turned over to the players, they end up performing pretty well at their jobs in the actual campaign. But otherwise, I think the story and the narrative is pretty good. I think he handles it well enough, and I think those mistakes could be ironed out. He is very... in his like sort of like newbie rookiness, he's very willing to turn over decisions to the players, but he's also willing enough to be hard-lined with certain decisions at certain points. So I can't hate Justin's DMing, and I think the Steeplechase setting is very interesting. I think the characters themselves are pretty good at this point. I think the players do all very well in this one. And they introduce this like stress trauma system where if your stress reaches too high, you have to take on traumatic aspects to your character's personality. And I think that this happens enough with enough characters that the characters reach this sort of like levels of depths, and I think they managed to portray them pretty well. That I think Steeplechase does turn out to be one of the best Adventure Zone campaigns. How this compares to, say, a Balance or something, it doesn't, obviously. But I think this is probably one of the best Adventure Zone campaigns in a long time. Steeplechase says. In video games, we call that fuck you for not knowing about the boulder I dropped on you. Yeah, there's some very fuck you for not knowing about the boulder I dropped on you scenarios in Steeplechase sometimes. He's very, but keep in mind, this is, for a first-time GM, he's probably better than I was for my first time, to be honest with you, and I can't hate that. So he did well enough. There's some very like rookie decisions. There's some clear like rules violations that he goes with. I don't even know rules in the dark. I just know previously established rules in the campaign that he ends up violating in several scenarios. Like there's one situation where I think it was like Travis ends up like rolling to like disarm a guy, and then Justin just like arbitrarily decides that no, he fucking did not, despite like critically hitting, which is like a sort of, I assume it's not an official Blades of the Dark rule, but it is a house rule they roll when you like roll well enough, you just like get the great result. So You know what I'm saying? But it's an entertaining enough story. I think the ending's almost a little dark in the way they trap this guy in this virtual reality for fucking ever, but that's okay. All in all, Steeplechase is worth a watch. It's not the best D&D show. I still think you're better off watching Taz Balance or watching Downfall, but it's pretty solid watch, and definitely the best Adventure Zone has been in a while. Okay, we actually managed to get through almost all of the subjects tonight. Can you believe that, everyone? Congratulations. Thanks for stopping by. Let's talk about the kicker, the grand finale, the event you've all been waiting for. It is time to talk about a dubbed 350-minute at maximum anime that has been randomly selected from my plan to watch list. It is time for the anime dartboard. This week we watched this 2 months we watched Shuten Doji, an anime, the Starhand Kid, an anime created based on a manga by Go Nagai, with a poster on the screen that I had to censor because the woman had nipples and Twitch doesn't like nipples. And if we were on YouTube, I wouldn't have had to worry about the nipples. But we're on Twitch, so I had to worry about the nipples. So I had to spend extra several minutes editing away the fucking nipples because Twitch is so goddamn sensitive to nudity that I can't have fictional fucking nipples on the goddamn screen because the fucking mods will go goddamn fucking ballistic because Twitch sucks ass. Anyway, Shuten Doji. Obviously, everyone watched it, so there's no reason to talk about a plot synopsis. So, what did everyone think about Shuten Doji that you all definitely for sure watched? I thought it was very Go Nagai, if I'm being honest. This felt... I think you really didn't like it brushing his nipples away. This is a weird story. It almost feels like... I don't know when this came up, but it almost feels like a prototype for Devilman. I don't know if Shuten Doji is older than Devilman, but it feels like a prototype of Devilman. I was going to watch Escaflowne, but I didn't even do that. I'm watching Tenchi Muyo right now. I say for people who are waiting for the next video release. But yeah. Yeah, this feels very Devilman, and like so because the main character is like given by a devil, and he's like, "Here, raise my devil son," and then he goes all devil mode. I don't know what I'm talking about. I got a lot of Devilman vibes from this. It's very Devilman-y. Devil Lord Dante is arguably the prototype for Devilman. When did Shuten Doji come out? Maybe I probably should have looked this up. When did Shuten Doji come? Shuten Doji. It's hard to, it's like, I would argue this is Devilman if Devilman was actually a good guy. And Go Nagai just committed to the idea of Devilman being a good guy. And everything kind of worked out at the end. Yo! Kato with a gifted sub. Holy shit, thank you. Toei wanted to do an anime for Demon Lord Dante, but Go Nagai thought it was too violent, so Toei made Devilman, and Go Nagai made a manga with it. The Shuten Doji manga came out on 1976? When did the Devilman manga come out? Oh, no, Devilman came out before 1976. Didn't it? Yeah, 72. Okay, so Shuten Doji's really weird then. Shuten Doji is almost like a remake of Devilman if Devilman was a good guy. Like, Shuten Doji is like if Devilman, because it almost feels like a prequel where he didn't edge it up, but I guess it's almost like a diluted form of Devilman, where he's like, what if Devilman was a good guy, and what if the good guys won? It's fucking weird, though, because, like, you remember that scene? You all remember that scene, because you all watched Shuten Doji like you were supposed to, because remember, you're supposed to do that, because it's a fucking book club, and everyone participates in the book club? Anyway, y'all remember that scene where he goes to the fucking future, and he ends up on the spaceship, and then the cyborg man is fighting him, and he's like, oh, I forgot the size I was supposed to be, and he, like, re-shrinks down to, like, normal size. And they don't do that on Devilman. There's no, like, weird... I remember because I read it. Yeah, see, there you go. There you go. Kaido gets it. He gets it. Yeah, you're, like... The weird future scene in it is like... It's so off the cuff. And, like, even odd. Like, you don't normally see him change genres. But what I didn't like about that is I liked the space captain in the future segment, and then when she died I was upset. It felt like super unnecessary. It felt very Go Nagai to randomly kill characters he didn't need anymore. But to be honest, I have never really held Go Nagai's writing in high regard in the first place. To be totally honest, I think he's almost like unnecessarily hyper lethal to the detriment of his own storylines. And so, excuse me. I think it works for Devilman, but I don't think it works in other things he's made. Like, I don't think it works in, like, Shuten Doji. I don't think it necessarily worked in Cutie Honey. He's very, like... I don't know. He has this, like, grim twinge to his stories that just most of the time, unless he's writing a tragedy like Devilman, they don't need to be there, and I think they detract from the quality of the overall story. And I think Shuten Doji... killing so many characters, like, because you remember in episode 2, where he introduced like 6 new characters who all just fucking died also in episode 2 that are just like fodder for the enemy demons, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? And it's like a consistent issue with his writing style that I've never had. Like, I don't know. The reason I was gifted was purely vain. I wanted to see number 1 next to my... You did it! There you go, then. But yeah, like, I don't know. Shuten Doji is, interestingly enough, I didn't hate it, but I do think it reflects issues that I've always had with Go Nagai's writing style, which, like, Go Nagai writes like an edgy teenager. He's like, yeah, we're going to have lesbians, and they're going to be naked, and we're going to put their tits over there, and they're, like, scissoring in the butches. Oh, but what if they were ugly lesbians? Oh, what if we go to the future, and there's an android? Oh, what if all the cool android people are naked? Oh, what if we kill all the cool android people? Oh, what if he's so strong, and he's the size of the spaceship? Oh, he's the size of the spaceship now. Oh! Like, that's like... What if we have a kid, and what if the kid's like a school delinquent, and what if his parents were delinquents, and what if his parents were delinquents and had him at like fucking 13 years old, and what if his mom's super hot because she's only in her 20s, and what if the mom wants to fuck the son? Ha 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 ha! Like, that's like... like, everything I just said sounds like made-up edgy teenage bullshit, but I'm gonna remind you that 100% of that is things Go Nagai has done. What if I write a story about a school delinquent who has to go to a girls' school, but he dresses up as a girl? I'm just drunk enough that just saying the plot of Sukaban Taka was enough to make me crack the fuck up. Sounds like the framework to every shonen. I mean, that is kind of the problem, is that, like, realistically, Go Nagai is an adult man that writes like a horny teenage boy, but he created Devilman, which is one of the most... He also created Mazinger Z, for the record, which are, like, the most influential... Like, some of the most influential anime of all fucking time. Like, if I were to create a top 10 list of most influential mangaka, you need to put Go Nagai on there. But the problem is that Go Nagai kind of sucks. Like, I think he fucking hit with Devilman, and I think that... Cutie Honey, I think Cutie Honey's not great, but I think its influence cannot be removed from the landscape of anime and manga without fundamentally damaging where we're at now. But I also think that he kind of sucks on every level is kind of the issue. Cutie Honey inspired me to say, yeah, I know. Like, the thing is, Cutie Honey isn't good, though, is the like, Cutie Honey's fine. I don't hate, like, Cutie Honey's good enough, I guess, which is why you can't remove Cutie Honey from the anime manga landscape. Like, he's so influential, but he's not good enough to be influential. Like, I almost wish someone better was Gonagai instead, and I think we would have ended up in a lot of a better place. It's like, and the real reason that Gonagai was so influential was because of Mazinger Z. Like, if Mazinger Z didn't hit as hard, I really doubt that people would have given a shit like 50 years down the line about Devilman or about Cutie Honey. I really think like his creation of the Super Robo Boom was the issue, like was what brought him into prominence, because that's what caused people to analyze his other works and enabled him to influence the landscape in the way he did. I once played a game with a plot similar to Ore Sukaban. In that game, within the first 10 minutes, you can woo the principal and get an ending where you marry the principal. What is this game? Because I need to have already played it. Is my question to you. But yeah, it's one of those things where he's like a weirdly not good writer that became famous because he created one singular famous work. Yes, thank you. And I would also argue, as we all know how I feel about the Super Robo Boom, I, like, theoretically, Gonagai is a curse on the anime manga landscape that has never fully been removed, because not only did he inspire a lot of old school shit, but that old school shit went on to inspire other old school shit, which went on to inspire like old shit, which has went on to inspire semi-modern shit, which has went on to inspire modern shit. Like, the stuff being made now are like 5 degrees separation inspired by Gonagai, because this man made one mech anime that fucking changed the world. Gonagai's first manga is what made a name, but not in a positive way. It made the PTA really mad. Oh, what was it? Was it not Mazinger? I know he made Mazinger, and Mazinger's the one I'm like focusing in on, because I think Mazinger's the one that fucked everything. Because Mazinger is Haruichui Gakuen. What the fuck? I'm unfamiliar. Let's see what we got here. What is this about? What the fuck is this about? This is the legendary Gonagai's breakthrough work, Harain Gakuen, a titular elementary school whose teachers and students are all perverts. Boys peep, girls changing, girls pulling up their skirts to show their panties off. Actually, it's not as evil as you imagine. They're like cubs playing together. It's only preschool eroticism, nothing sexual. In spite of that, Hiraichui Gakuen became a sensation. Parents, teachers, and politicians hysterically attacked the comic's immorality. Following the magazine's publisher decided to cancel it. I can't imagine why this got canceled. It got a sequel? It got a sequel with art by Aruga Teruto. Mazinger versus Devilman Watch Party. That's not real. That better not be real. You better have made that the fuck up. You better have made that one the fuck up. I will be outraged if that exists. Also, I don't think I could do it. I might be able to figure out it. I wouldn't mind going full I don't think I've ever said this. I have long since hated making fucking Let's Plays. Like, my appreciation for playing video games on stream dissolved literally years ago. I would not mind switching to reaction-based content at this point. Versus Devilman. This better not be fucking real. I think it isn't. I think it's not. I think you made it up. And I'm so happy about that. Oh, thank God it's not real. The way he canceled was pretty awesome, though. He had all the characters brutally murdered by protesters. That, yeah, that's the Gona guy I'm talking. No, God, it's real. Oh, God, it's real, though. Oh, fuck, it's real. Why is it real? No, 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 no. Oh, fuck, it's real. I just found it. Oh, oh, God, why is it real? Why the fuck? Why? Holy shit, why? Why did they make this? Oh, God. The series of Mazinger's Inc. Devilman fighting against the evil demon clan. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, fuck. Anyway, I don't think we'd be able to watch it. I doubt this is available legally anywhere. It is, ironically enough, actually on Archive. It's on Internet Archive. I've just found it. Oh, but I think it's in Espanol. Well, now that my night is fucking ruined, yeah, Shuten Doji. What was... This stopped being a review of Shuten Doji at a certain point and just started me being shitting on Go Nagai for being a shitty writer, who was only famous for, like, 3 things. And one of those things isn't even all that good. Like, most people who will acknowledge that Cutie Honey is one of the most influential series of all time will also acknowledge that Cutie Honey isn't actually all that good. Okay, I think we're done with Shuten Doji. Does anyone have anything to add about this? Honestly, I did actually like it. I thought it was pretty good. But I didn't think it was anything standout. Knowing now that it wasn't a prelude prototype for Devilman, I would almost argue that this is probably a refinement of Devilman. Like, I think he knew where he went wrong with Devilman, and he tried to make something better. The female lead of this and the heroine, though, can we talk about how flat she is and how her only personality trait is how much she wants to fuck the main character? Like, that's a little reductive, right? Am I wrong about that? Y'all are with me on that, right? Devilman was one of the first anime I've ever watched before I knew what an anime was. What a weird... the original 73, like the original 70s Devilman? Because that's fucking weird. That's a weird first anime. No. Crybaby? Was it Crybaby? I think we're done with Shuten Doji. No? No to the OVA, you have no idea. Probably the 80s OVA. If it wasn't Crybaby and it wasn't the 70s one, it was probably the OVAs from the 80s. Which actually was one of the dartboard anime. Yeah, Devilman the Birth. We actually did get that as one of the dartboards. Your uncle is playing it on something. Oh, probably like the Devilman the Birth or something. It's probably Devilman the Birth. Which was one of the previous anime dartboards. We keep getting Go Nagai shit, honestly. I think we're done. I don't think anyone else has anything to add to Shuten Doji. It's not bad. I did kind of like it. But I think it has a lot of Go Nagai trappings in it. Alright. Here we go. Pulling up the Wheel of Names. Pulling this up. Now, okay, so worth noting, I've actually watched a bunch of shit now on Wheel of Names, so we might need to respin if I've accidentally watched one of these. But the first anime I was consciously watching random was Gundam on Toonami series. The first anime that I recognized as an anime and not as a cartoon was probably... Bubblegum Crisis? Because I had seen Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And Sailor Moon... before that. But the first one I recognized as an independent anime was probably either Bubblegum Crisis or Street Fighter 2, the movie. There's only one other fucking thing needed for Sabbath, and that's plenty of blood. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Come on, baby, no whammies. Even though we get nothing but whammies on this show. I think Toonami's still around. No, 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 fuck! Oh. Alright, Gynocyber. Oh, shit. Alright. That's not Gynocyber. I don't know what the fuck that is. Alright, Gynocyber. Genocyber? I'm not sure. As the nations of the world begin to merge, world peace is threatened by the private armies of individual corporations. The Creo group has just discovered a weapon that will tip the world power in their favor. The Genocyber, a nightmarish combination of cybernetics and psychic potential. Many desire to control this monstrosity, but can hatred be contained? Battle erupts, and the cyberpunk world of the future is about to explode with violence. This is apparently 5 episodes. Wow, that is long as shit. Created by Artmic. Wow, haven't seen you in a while. And by haven't seen you in a while, I mean I literally just fucking watched you because you created Bubblegum Crash, which I watched like a week ago. Okay, let's see. It is a 5-episode OVA, 30 minutes a pop, which is approximately 2.5 hours. Am I wrong about that? Its genres are action, horror, sci-fi, gore, mecha, psychological with a Senin demographic. And who are we've got to the director? For the director, we have Koichi Owata, whose name sounds very familiar. What has you done, Koichi Owata? You did Mikan Ki, which is a shockingly better than you would expect manga. Don't know about the anime, but the manga, better than you'd expect. My one problem with Mikan Ki as a manga is the women's tits are like too large. And I like a big breast, but there is a point where you see a woman's tits and you're like, no, that is too much tit though. Like that is an uncomfortable amount of breast. And the women in Mikan Ki, except for like arguably the main girl who is like flat as shit, like they reach the level where you're like, no, that is too much chest. And I believe the creator of Mikan Ki used to be a hentai artist, and holy shit, is it so incredibly obvious. He did the robot designs for Gunbuster. That's actually interesting. He directed Ikitosen Dragon Destiny. Okay. That's one of the better Ikitosen seasons, if I remember correctly, actually. He did Bakuratsu Tenshi, which is Burst Angel, which is one of the only anime I have ever dropped that is so fucking bad. He directed Great Guardians. Great Guardians is pretty good. Directed a Mikan Ki OVA. He directed Extreme Executor. Extreme Executor is pretty damn good. But I don't know. But Extreme Executor is good because it's Ikitosen and not because... For people who don't know, I have a long-standing love for the Ikitosen franchise. It's one of my favorites, actually. Crazy enough. But I don't know if it's good because of the direction or because it's Ikitosen. He did Gynocyber. Cherry Coke is awesome. I'm not a big Cherry Coke fan. I like Vanilla Coke. Did mechanical design for Macross F2 Sayonara no Tsubasa. Did mechanical design for Angel Cop. He does a lot of machine stuff, I guess. I've never seen mechanical design before. He did mechanical design for Gunbuster in episode 1. That... Oh, episode... No, okay. Gunbuster and Gunbuster 2, the movie, mechanical design. Okay. Which I assume means he did the mechanical design for Gunbuster, because Gunbuster 2 is terrible. Gunbuster 1 isn't the best movie ever, but holy shit, the drop-off for Gunbuster 2. He did Sayuyuki Reload Burial? What the shit even is this? Taking place in the past, Views offers the quartet, their formation in the West, over Sanzo as master, his journey shows the meeting in Goku and considers is this just like a really weird fucking Journey to the West version? Okay. Directed Blue Gender. Okay. That's an Ava ripoff. He did You're Under Arrest season. Okay, interesting. This is a really weird portfolio, actually. Did a lot of mechanical designs that I'm not just going to keep reading. Did something called Seiyuki Saigard. Okay, well, this existed. It's Journey to the West, but gayer. Hard to do. Let's see. He directed something called Nine Rollers Crown, which doesn't exist yet. And that's it. So he mostly makes mechs and directs some Ikitosen seasons and then some shit no one cares about. And I say that in such a way to imply that everyone cares about Ikitosen, even though I am the only person I have ever known to care about Ikitosen, but clearly other people have to care about Ikitosen because it has like 7 seasons. So I can't be the only person that cares about Ikitosen, despite never encountering anyone else who has ever cared about Ikitosen. Anyway, Genocyber. Gynocyber? I don't know. Probably Genocyber, right? Because Gynocyber would be spelled with a Y, and it would be like woman robot, whereas Genocyber's like, I don't know, Biodroid or some bullshit. So I guess created just it's the only way to live. Anyway, yeah, watch that in the next 2 months. And I guess that's it for Dartboard. Watch it, I guess. Okay. Well, she is a woman. Maybe it is Gynocyber. But I am assuming Genocyber. Okay. Yeah, so watch Genocyber, Gynocyber. Excuse me. Before the next one. And yeah, I think we're good to wrap actually at 3 hours. The stream went a little longer than I was supposed to because we just had to talk about Cum for so long while I was trying to explain the Flanderization of Neptunia characters. Genocyber has a lot of puppy nipples. Does it? I will take your word for it. I guess we'll find out. Yeah, so when is the next one? Let's see. It is going to be in 2 months from now because we do this bi-monthly. So, March. Okay, watch that by March. You have until March to watch it. It's plenty of time. You'll get it done. I have faith in you. Don't believe in yourself. Don't believe in me. Believe in the me that believes in you. As for this, it should be, I think, next week. We're a cum-filled chat. Hell yeah! We're going to be going on to the 2nd annual Dialogue Tree Awards. Maybe. Probably. Look forward to that. My goal is to, in the next week, we have to stream Kingdom Hearts as much as it requires us to finish Kingdom Hearts. We have to get Kingdom Hearts done by next week so it can appear, and then I will post on Discord in the content channel all of the nominees for the award ceremony. I've literally already bought the champagne. Maybe not inspired. Well, I want it to be the same time every year, and honestly, I need to double check if I actually do it on the 2nd week every year, because part of me is like, maybe I do it on the 3rd week every year, so I'm not actually sure anymore how often I'm supposed to, like, I don't remember what week in January I'm supposed to be doing this as part of it. It's not so much that I don't think we can finish Kingdom Hearts in 1 week, it's just I'm not sure what the schedule is supposed to be. Because part of me is like, is it 3rd week? I don't know. I'm not sure. So I'll get back to you on that. But as far as we're concerned, assume that next week, bare minimum, we're going to stream as much Kingdom Hearts as I fucking can just to get it done with. Even if I don't want to. because I want to stop playing Kingdom Hearts, we will be streaming Kingdom Hearts next week. Maybe even tomorrow we might be streaming Kingdom Hearts. We are getting through Kingdom Hearts before next Sunday. So I will say probably next Sunday will be the award ceremony. I will get the nominees up as soon as possible. I want to change the categories this year. So instead of like, so I want to have like best sound design, for example, and I want to maybe split narrative, like split story into narrative and characters, and I have a few more other award ideas. So we'll see what comes in. But we also played less games this year, so we have less options for the nominees. So I don't want to overload the award categories. But anyway, yeah, I would say that's where we're going. Look forward to all that. I'll keep you posted on the details. Kato, thank you again for the Prime sub and the gifted sub. Maiden Kato, thank you so much for stopping by. Watch Cyber by the first Sunday of March, because it's the first Sunday of March, which is, mark your calendars. Mark your calendars. This is how long you have to watch. March 2nd. You have March 2nd to watch Cyber. For a full book club discussion on Anime Dart Lord. I will post about it, of course, in the Discord. And I think we're good, actually. Already seen it? Great. You'll be primed and ready for the combo. But yeah, I think I'll finish off this coffee. Hey. And until then, thanks for stopping by, everyone. I've been Sacrabalic, your Envoy of Hope, and this has been Dialogue Tree on schedule for 2 years. Everyone thought I was lying when I said I could do it on schedule, and I wasn't. We will watch the first 30 minutes of content and form an opinion from that. Bye-bye. Bye-bye!